Let there be light, light, light.
Got him! Got him!
That's hush.
KS Radio Show, hosted by Alicio, aka KS. You got a new hot record you can't get on the airways? Well, they take music submissions over here at Alicio Torres 1989 at yahoo.com.
Say what?
Alicio started the KS Radio Show in January 2016, and it is recorded live every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time through www.blogtalkradio.com. Not only is the KS Radio Show the home of the most exclusive music and interviews, you can also give a birthday shout out to your homies.
Happy birthday!
Follow on Instagram and Twitter at KS Radio Show, or contact Alicio directly. His phone number is 513-370-4968. Alicio is down to interview anybody with a testimony, so get with it or get lost, get right or get left. Yeah.
FRIENDS, miss me with them indirect boxes on the internet. I pass, don't never intersect. How you in the click, but you don't know me at all. All your shots get intercepted, so don't throw me the ball.
I have a past. I've made mistakes. But even though I'm not perfect, I refuse to be defined by my failures. I'm proud of the changes that I made and the things that I've overcome. And if you knew what I had to go through in order to transform into the person that I am today, you wouldn't try to discard me. You would celebrate me. Besides, no one can cancel whom God has redeemed. What about you? Redeem culture. It's not just a brand, it's a movement.
Sold out, boy, no refund. Don't play with me, I reach for it. Yeah. That 66, it'll get you right. Yeah. Boy, you know I'm on that Christ life. Yeah, I'm sold out, boy, no refund. Yeah, don't play with me, I reach for it. Yeah, that 66, it'll get you right. Yeah, boy, you know I'm on that Christ life. Yeah, I don't really care what they gon' say, cause I'm rich up in my spirit, I need no bank. Tryna get to heaven, holy staircase, just so I can be 2 letters, that's okay. And lately I've been feeling like the bad guy. Dread swinging, boy, I can't keep a hair tie. Put that fire in your soul from the stovetop. Cool you down, make you chill, buddy, cause you need God. Why these Christian rappers wanna switch it up? The Great Commission's here, but they giving up. Light in my soul, yeah, I live it up. Learn what I've been through, boy, I've been tough. See me on the road all last year. I set some new goals, that was last year. Making change, cashier. I need all mine, bring the bag here. Yeah, I'm sold out, boy, no refund. Don't play with me, I reach for it. Yeah, that 66, it'll get you right. Yeah, boy, you know I'm on that Christ life. Yeah, I'm sold out, boy, no refund. Yeah, don't play with me, I reach for it. Yeah, that 66, it'll get you right. Yeah, boy, you know I'm on that Christ life. Why they mad? Shooting shots, pin it up the glass, get the bag. Go ahead, yeah, do the math. Woo. I be sliding with my woes, yeah, and I be praying for my foes. Here I go again, cold flow. Feel like Michigan, let me reminisce, ayy. Load the rim of 10, I'm the man with 10. Kill the old me, get rid of the sin, time to bury it, yeah.
I found my salvation in the God of creation, yeah. This my motivation, I'll never let him take it, yeah. I found my salvation in the God of creation, yeah. This my motivation, I'll never let him take it, yeah.
I'm sold out, boy, no refund. Don't play with me, I reach for it. Yeah, that 66, it'll get you right. Yeah, boy, you know I'm on that Christ life. Yeah, I'm sold out, boy, no refund. Yeah, don't play with me, I reach for it. Yeah, that 66, it'll get you right. Yeah, boy, you know I'm on that Christ life.
Yo,
make moves. From the north side of the funk I grew. Gotta stay up like a late night move. Ain't fall out, but I can't lose. Give my pride while I rock my jewels. Niggas try to come, but I don't got room. Come inside, hit 'em with a 1-2. Tell me I might move. Meet me in the ring, might be a typhoon. Even Jesus when they see the I love. Jesus might ride, might see the light soon. When I wake up, see the daylight. Haters feel like Sunday, right? Late night in my prayer life. Gotta stay focused, my God, give the green light. Yeah, you ain't even see the life that I struggled with. You ain't even see the things I struggle with. Man, it only bring pain, had enough of it. Now I'm saying Jesus says he'll come again. Him with a chopper, that thing went boom. Never don't like how I make moves. From the north side of the funk I grew. Gotta stay up like a late night move. May fall out, but I can't lose. Give my pride while I rock my jewels. Niggas try to come, but I don't got room. Come inside, hit 'em with a 1-2.
I be rapping, I be capping, I be tapping, I be flapping, I be happen. Ning, ding, bing, wing. Yo.
Sounds good.
Would, could, should, hood. Good, mug, good, bug.
If we say we'll come, will you shut your ass up?
Got him! Got him!
Okay, I'm reloaded. Hey yo, I don't know. That little intro be getting me all the time, bro. All the time, man. Hey yo, Lisho, man, we back again, bro.
Back again, bro, man. December been filled up like since the middle of November. No cap. Anyway,
man, glory to God for that.
Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you, bro. How was your Thanksgiving? How was your Christmas?
I mean, good, man. Just chilling. I actually been focused on working on music right now. Got some dope music coming up. You know what I mean? Glory to God for that I'm still able to make music today. So, word, man. Shout out to Jesus, right? But yo, not for nothing though. I would say we going from state to state with it, but I don't know. We going from country to country with it. That's a fact, boy.
Podcast, boy.
Yo, listen, man. Tonight we got somebody from Canada on the show. Super, super dope. Opportunity to be able to watch somebody's feet over there. Definitely want to say shout out to the chat too, man. Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all always there rocking with us, holding us down. So I don't want to overlook that at all. You know what I mean? I seen somebody in the chat say, we here to wash feet tonight. You know what I mean? So shout out to you for that, because that's exactly what we're here to do. God gave us an opportunity to be service to each other. He says, you'll know the children by the love that they have for one another. You know, the Bible tells us to esteem others greater than we esteem ourselves. So with that, man, we here to shine light on yet another brother in Christ. Super dope artist coming out of Canada. Shout out to Cultivate Culture. Look, the other night, I did a live playing the music. I said I was going to open the gift, but I didn't open the gift, man. So apologize for that. But for y'all that was watching that night, the gift that I was going to open was this shirt right here. Or actually, it wasn't even this shirt. It was the Sign to God hoodie. It was an orange hoodie. Sign to God. Yo, Gia, is there an orange hoodie over there?
Well, while you look for the hoodie, we want to give a big shout out to Kiwi Morse, who is the founder and owner of Cultivate Culture. You guys see that we played his video called Sold Out, and Jay Muzic actually has on his shirt.
Hold it up. Yo, right here, man, Sign to God sent me this joint, man. Shout out to Kiwi. Oh, no, actually, Kiwi is Cultivate Culture. All right. So, man, definitely want to say shout out to Sign to God for sending me that. Shout out to Kiwi for sending me this. You know, man, it's a lot of love coming from the body of Christ, Licio. A lot of love, man. A lot of love.
So for those who don't know, you know who Sign to God is. The founder is Rashawn Jones, which is St. Jones. It's his stage name. He'll be on the show January 10th, I think. Anyway, definitely excited to have him on the show as well. So if anybody that's out there that's, you know, if you're trying to get your brand out there, you're looking for influencers, you're looking for promoters, we are here to promote you. So, you know, inbox us, send us some merch, and we definitely going to put it on the show and promote the websites and everything.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yo,
so check out, signtoGod.com, and also Cultivate Culture. When you spell cultivate and when you spell culture, instead of the U's, put a V. It'll pop right up.
You got it right here, and right there. Somebody said, how do I submit a song? Information is at the bottom of the screen. Tonight is not the night to submit a song, but we do go live. So if you want to submit your song or your video, send it in. We'll play it when we go live. But tonight we got some exclusives coming up. You already know, man. We here to wash feet tonight, man, and we don't play no games when it comes to that. So with that, man, we're gonna say, you know what I mean, let's get into this joint. What we getting into, Licio?
Bro, so since we are washing feet tonight, the best way that we can wash feet is to sharpen our brothers. So I want to give a big shout out to Iceberg with his track called Iron. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel GodSon Listening Party, please do so. We're at 99 subscribers. Hopefully we can hit that milestone 100 subscribers before New Year's.
Hey, yo, we rejoice over the little things. We understand 99 in today's culture might not be a lot, but we rejoicing, man, because we seeing progress on this side. Right. So shout out to Jesus, man.
Well, the first exclusive song we're going to kick the show off tonight with is Iron Sharpens Iron by the homies Iceberg 517. Definitely follow him on social media. This song features Salt of the Earth and Big Steve, straight out of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Man, shout out to Cincinnati, man. Yo, Cincy be in the building, no games, y'all. Y'all be holding it down on that side. I ain't gonna hold you, man. So go ahead, Lisa. My bad.
Now real strong. You feel me?
Yeah, word. That's a fact.
And then we also got something brand new from the homie Salt of the Earth. So y'all gonna hear something old from Salt and something brand new. And I'm gonna give y'all that information after this song. But definitely enjoy this Iron Sharpens Iron. And if you are an encourager, and if you are a Christian or a disciple of Christ, you need to be encouraging not only the body of Christ, but also those who don't believe. Everybody needs encouragement, and we need to all sharpen each other, male and female. Let's get it.
That's a super fact, man. Be a light in the world. The Bible talk about how you don't take a lamp and put it under a basket. You know what I mean? You want the lamp to give. Yeah, you know, you want it to give light to everything in the house. So Don't put your light under a basket. And with that, man, let's get into this exclusive joint. This right here is called Iron Sharpens Iron. Let's go.
Okay, I'm reloaded.
Hey, yo, everybody in the chat, let me know where you tapping in from, you heard? We worldwide tonight, baby.
You supposed to seek knowledge from the cradle till you meet the end. We power each other up like we are the super friends. I got Christians with me, roll tight like Mexicans. My soul is spirit on me, slicing through a hater man. My brother saw the Steve, I told him about my issues.
I know
now
you gonna dig this.
Blade, the holy black Genzu. We expose ourselves, what we don't cover up. Like Tetris finding ways to build each other up. Jesus take the lead.
Let's go. Shout out to the body of Christ. We only do this for Jesus, yeah.
Don't try to run it high. No problems coming down. Come and holler at your boy. The wrinkles iron out. For those who live by faith and die by the Bible, they blocking blessings out here. Watch out for the title. Wait for sure, so always check the weather. We make each other better together.
Newburgh, New York. Let's go.
Brother to brother, we can make each other better. Iron sharpens iron. Strengthen ourselves as we follow Christ's life. Shout his name like a siren. Iron sharpens iron. Iron sharpens iron. Iron sharpens iron. Yeah, get it together. Iron sharpens iron.
Hey, everybody in the chat, tap in. Let me know where you from.
Yeah, making us better. Ambassador for Christ, homie, and a state true. Influence my environment. That's what the soul do. Get with my bird, light up your city. No brew, drilling with truth. Pull them out that fire. Corkscrew. Get it popping with the real. Pray for the fake acting. To see them walking truth. That's why my face are action. Catch me with some kingdom creatures living what we rapping. Who know they rights touching degree and that thing happen. Hold each other accountable in a real way. That we continue to walk like Jesus. No Kanye. follow me as I follow Christ.
Representing that Midwest. Told you we ain't done yet. Know some people that still smiling, but ain't getting no check. Some people be suspect. Not tripping, I can't stress. When people try to tell me how I'm supposed to dress.
Let's go, let's go. Shout out to the body of Christ.
We be coming street like the people on the wire. Know somebody that told me they just got fired. Praying for their situation, now they getting higher. God is the sheriff, guess I'm just a deputy. He gon' lay the law down when they disrespecting me. People wanna test me, Jesus be checking me, but I thank God I got some real people next to me. Gotta get right, don't get left. Why people so complex? Life is going by real fast like a Corvette. They call me Big Steve, I am not stressed, and they still tripping like a church with a smoking section. We can make each other better.
Let's go, let's go. Shout out to the body of Christ.
Strengthen ourselves as we follow Christ. Like shout his name like a siren. Iron sharp as iron. Iron sharp as iron. Iron sharp as iron. Yeah,
I know you're gonna dig this.
Iron sharp as iron. Iron sharp as iron. Iron sharp as iron. Yeah, making us better. Iron sharp as iron.
Let's go, let's go. Shout out to the body, you heard? Everybody who tapped in on Facebook, come check us on YouTube. Facebook be hating, they don't be wanting to charge the streams. Let's go, man. Shout out to, hey yo, shout out to Iron Sharpening Iron. This joint right here, fire, man. Everybody who's tapped in on Facebook, please come check us on YouTube, you heard? We want to be able to bring this content to you. We want to be able to shine light on this brother that we got coming up, but we want you to hear about it. We want you to get to know who he is. Maybe subscribe and stream his music, but come tap in with us on YouTube, you heard? Facebook be hating, you heard?
Facts. So again, man, shout out to Iceberg for that fire track. If you haven't heard of Iceberg, definitely follow him at it's at Iceberg 517 everywhere on social media. Definitely big brother in Christ, and he is godfather to my son Tristan. So I just want to
shout out to Tristan too, though. Shout out to Tristan. Shout out to Tristan. So what we got next? We got Salt of the Earth, something new coming up.
Something brand new, and when I say brand new, he literally just released it 2 days ago. So he released one song on Saturday, and then he released another song on Sunday. Well, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So if you guys have not heard the new tracks, this is definitely something new for you guys. Hopefully you guys want to enjoy it. But if you want to help him stream, the songs are available on all digital platforms, and you can actually go to his website, saltoftheearth.com, and download each and every project, including these two brand new songs. One is called Kingdom Business, and then the other one is called Be the One, and it's featuring the homie GQ Motivate. Definitely tap in with Salt either on his website or on any streaming platforms and any digital platforms to help stream the project, stream the music. Anyway, we got Kingdom Business on the show tonight because we handling Kingdom Business tonight with the homie Noize, who is our guest tonight, December 27th. We're going to step into the new year being focused on God's business and kingdom business. You feel me? Let's go.
Yeah, man. Everybody who's in the chat, please, I need you to tap in. Let me know where you tapping in from so we can shout you out. We can shout out your city, you heard? Let's get into this right here. Kingdom Business, Salt of the Earth, Problem Child. Let's go, man.
Okay, I'm reloaded.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Salt of the Earth.
I'm ready on go, let's get to the beat. 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 Can't big. God gave me the word and I sat down and listened. Pen in my pad and I wrote down the vision to give it my all. I'm ready, I'm with it, I'm ready on go, let's get to the business. Tried it my own way, but I had to pivot. Led by the flesh, but I had to kill it. Humble myself and repent it, let's get it. Humble myself and repent it, let's get it. Had to sit down and go learn a little bit more.
around it, you gotta go through it to get your breakthrough. So you can go to the next season in life, trusting God every step. Led by the Spirit, I'm moving in power. Led by the Spirit, I'm moving in power. I'm ready on go, let's get to the business. Ready on go, let's get to the business. Ready on go, let's get to the business. Ready on go, let's get to the business.
Let's go, let's go.
I know you gonna dig this.
I'm ready on go, let's get to the business. Ready on go, let's get to the business. Ready on go, let's get to the business. Ready on go, let's get to the business.
Hey yo, Salt don't be playing no games, you heard?
Kingdom, big. The root of the problem, get to it today. If you living in torment and leaving today, teaching and preaching the gospel. When we do that, signs and wonder gon' follow. Miracles, healing, repentance. Angels is singing cause you coming back to the Father. Demons is hollering and leaving the name of Jesus cause you ain't got no other option. I realize but I be the one, yeah, I be the one that's showing the love of the Father. Yeah, I be the soul, yeah, I be the light in the world. They just getting darker. You, me, Lord, I surrender to you. Let's get it pop. I'm ready on go, let's get to the business. Ready on go, let's get to the business. Ready on go, let's get to the business. Ready on go, let's get to the business.
Shout out to Shaw the Earth. Shout out to the whole one body, you heard?
I'm ready on go, let's get to the business. Ready on go, let's get to the business. Ready on go, let's get to the business. Ready on go, let's get to the business.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, man. That right there was fire. And you already know, man. Shout out to the one body. They always putting on for the kingdom, you heard? They don't play no games, man.
Bro, I was 35 seconds into the song, and I was like, yep, let me go ahead and give him my $1.29. I bought it right from the website. Because I knew that we had to play it on the show because we had
yo,
to
man.
business, bro.
Shout out to Salt, man. Appreciate you sending that in, allowing us to wash your feet tonight, Cuzzo. But with that, man, we going to get the show started. I'm going to bring Bold Noize into the building. Shout out. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Bold Noize checking in from Canada. Yo, we crossing country lines with this, boy. Yo, what up, son? What's going on with you out there in Canada, man?
Bro, it is freezing.
Wow. Wow. I know you had said they just shut you down at work or something. You lost like power or something, right?
Yeah, bro. The whole power in the mall got completely knocked out.
Man, that's crazy, man. I pray for the people out there that need that power. You heard? We know there's a lot of people with medical issues that depend on that power. So, Lord, right now we just come before you and we ask you to turn the lights on, Lord. Turn the lights on. Jesus. So, yo, man.
Not only in Canada, but like on the East Coast and people in like Atlanta and Georgia, like they're like the temperature is so cold that like pipes are bursting. Like my mom's pipes bursted here in Ohio.
Wow.
So, you know, just pray for the power company to come out, the landlords and homeowners, they be able to get a hold of like some cheap plumbers to come out and do some quality work because without water we can't live, y'all.
It's a fact. That's a super duper duper fact. You know what I mean? So come turn that water on, man. Bold Noize though, man. Welcome to the show, Cuzzo. Honored to have you on, bro. So for somebody like me, I ain't never been to Canada. You know what I mean? What was it like for you growing up in Canada? What's that like?
For me growing up in Canada, it was dope. Predominantly because I feel like I got to experience a lot more of a little bit of a slower lifestyle growing up. So not having like, I grew up in the country. Like I grew up in the country. I'm a country boy through and through. The town I grew up in was like 600 people population.
Wow.
When I was a little older, we moved out to my dad's place, and that was like maybe a population of like 50, 60 people at the most, maybe.
Wow, that's a house party. That's a house party.
Yeah, bro. And
hey, yo, he said 500-600 people. That's a club. And then you said 50 people. That's a house party.
Yeah. And so I got to grow up around like my dad. He's got like a huge property of like a couple hundred acres. So I got to grow up around I got to grow up around nature. I spent a lot of my time with my grandfather in the bush. We were chopping trees down for the winter, working on trails so we can get the tractor in the back. That's how a lot of my childhood was until I moved up to the city, which is just like half an hour, 45-minute drive into town. So I feel like I just got a little bit of a slower life. Like I had a little bit of a slower lifestyle. I don't feel like in terms of how hip hop is portrayed. For the longest time, I didn't really feel like I was right to represent the right to represent hip hop because of how I grew up for the longest time.
So, being that you did say you come from the country, in these small type of towns and cities and all that. What was the hip hop scene for you? Like, how you get into hip hop?
I got into hip hop. So when I got out of, for me, it's elementary school. For you guys, I think it's middle school for you guys. When I got out of elementary school, grade 8, I was super into like heavy metal, punk music, that kind of stuff. And so it kind of casually like evolved over to hip hop. It was Cole, Kendrick, Mac Miller, Eminem, just like pretty standard, pretty pretty much what was popular at the time. But the first time I ever heard a hip hop song, it blew me away. I was like, something like caught me. I was like, what is this? Like, where has this been like my entire life? Because I had never heard like hip hop, anything like that. Because like all we listened to in my family was classic rock, Christian music, and country music. So getting thrown all of a sudden, like going into high school, getting thrown into that was a huge eye opener that there wasn't just this category of living in where I was living. That was the branch out to me. And once I heard it, I was just kind of infatuated with it for the first little bit. And then I started realizing, wait a minute, I actually really like this. Maybe I could do something with it. So I started music right around when I was 13 years old, and I've just been going since. Been about a decade now.
So if you had to describe hip hop, how would you describe it for you?
I would say for me, at least in the era that I grew up in, I would have to say in the era I grew up in, I found hip hop to be pure and on the way. Like it was just before like mumble rap and that kind of stuff started like really dominating the genre. So the stuff I was hearing was very much so storytelling. It was very much so lifestyles from all these different artists. Like this is around the time Kendrick's Section 80 came out. This is around the time that Eminem's what was the album? Eminem's Recovery and the Marshall Mathers LP2 came out. So it was a lot of like passionate, pure, and like it felt real, especially with a lot of the stuff that was going on in my life. It felt like it was calling me to kind of share like my emotions that were on display. So when I started writing, it was a lot of I did a lot of secular stuff. It was more so just me trying to vent out my situations that I was in and any family stuff. But slowly that evolved with the more that I went to church. When we moved churches, the more I went to church, the more I wanted to start actually like, I could do this for Jesus and I can make music to lead people to Christ. I had just started teaching in a junior youth group as one of their youth leaders. So I was like, these kids, they're all from the city. They probably listen to a lot of like pop and hip hop on the radio. Maybe I can be a light to some of these kids that are just coming in and might have the same same living situations, same upbringing as I do.
I like that. So with hip hop, right? Being that you come from, you said a rock background. You was into the heavy metal and all that, right?
Yeah.
So why not go the heavy metal route for you?
I feel like for me, and this is one thing that kind of, I feel like hip hop actually kind of saved me in that regard. I noticed that. So let me break it down a little bit, because like you got to kind of go to the beginning to understand
Guys, floor is yours, Pop.
the metal. So I grew up Christian household. I grew up Christian grandparents on both sides. Christian mother, like father went to church. So I had all of that around me. I had huge musical influence. My dad played saxophone. My mom, one of the best piano players I've ever met in my life, and probably one of the best vocalists ever too. So I went to church every single Sunday. I never missed. My mom was the person who set up Bible camps during the summer for the kids. I was the one who would help out at those. I would volunteer my whole summer just to help her out with that. Home life, you would swear it was a completely different thing. My mom and my dad both had stuff they were going through. There was a lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs, those kind of things that were going on. And it kind of brought me into a place where I found myself in the latter years of elementary school, where I was faking sick, trying to stay home just because I was like, I'm scared something's going to happen to my mom. And that was kind of why I started listening to like more heavy music, because like, yo, I got to be hard. I gotta make sure like I can stand up when the moment's right. I got to make sure that I can defend. And that moment happened at one point. Me and my dad got into it when I was 12, and I ended up busting his nose, and him and I didn't speak for almost 10 years. And like my mom and dad, they separated, they got a divorce. Our initial church that we were with kind of shunned us out of the place because that the pastor at the time was very much so, there's no room for fault. There's no room for any wrongdoing, anything like that. So they kind of told us like, you guys need to go. You're not welcome here anymore. Wow. And so that kind of changed out my view of church for a couple of years, about 2-3 years. We were looking for a church for a couple of years. We didn't really have anywhere to go. So at the time when we moved out, we went and moved in with my grandparents on my mom's side. And at that time, I didn't really realize it until about a year ago and stuff like that. But at that time, my grandfather, who basically saw me, and he was like, he needs somebody in his life to show him how to be a man. And so around that time, I was still listening to metal music, and even with my grandfather trying to like help me out and like kind of like show me the ways of how to be a man, I could still feel myself getting more and more and more and more angry because of the music I was listening to. A lot of people don't understand that music, even if you tell somebody, oh yeah, no, that doesn't affect me, that doesn't do anything with me, blah, 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 subconsciously, the words getting into your head, they're going to stick. Those are going to, over time, affect who you are. Music can genuinely shape who you are. And especially in a young mind like mine, I was realizing that I was every second day coming home from school, I was getting into screaming matches with my sisters, my mom. I was leaving holes in walls when I was 12 years old. Like it was tough because I could see how I was affecting people, and I knew I didn't want to be like that, but I just, for some reason, I couldn't stop. And so I found that when I started listening to hip hop, it really started pushing the metal music away, and I was starting to get this storytelling aspect, and I was starting to hear these stories from people who grew up in very similar situations, like Eminem's situations with his mom and his dad. Like that was something that really connected with me. Eminem's not the healthiest person in the world to listen to, but like at the time, that was the environment I grew up in. I was like, yo, this is this is connecting to me. This is kind of something that I really want to grasp and understand more of. So as time went on, I ended up starting to write, and I noticed the more that I wrote, the less angry I felt with my own life. I started to feel a little bit more relieved, and I started to feel like this weight off my shoulders just started to come off. And then when we got to our new church, which had a lot of close family friends of my mom at the time, we started linking up, and I was the kid. I had headphones on all the time. I was like, even in church, I would have my headphones on and I would have music playing. I didn't want anything really to still do with it. So I was kind of there. I'd walk out, like sermon ended, blah, blah, blah. I'd get up, I'd walk out, headphones still on. And my youth pastor at the time, Jeremy, he stopped me, and he was one of the people that my mom knew when he was a little kid. So he stopped me. He's like, "Hey, I'm Jeremy. I know you guys are new here. I've known you for a very long time. I've known you since you were in diapers. And I wanted to invite you out to our senior youth group, knowing that you're in high school. I want you to come to our senior youth group." I was just kind of like, I just like to stay home, be in the basement and write. That's kind of how I like to spend my extracurriculars. And he's like, "No, like for real, come out, come enjoy yourself. It's a really fun time." And I went, and it was awesome. I met a bunch of amazing people there. Some people I'm still incredibly close friends with to this day. Some people who are even current youth leaders at that church right now. But as I started going to this youth group, I started realizing that, hey, there's kids in this junior youth group that I'm helping out with now that are in the same situations I am. They're understanding that there is, that their life has pain, that their family issues might not be the best right now. I've been through that. Let me give them some sort of lifeline. Let me give them some life. And that's just kind of how my journey into Christian hip hop started. And throughout the years, it just kept evolving. I got the chance to meet people like Beacon Light, Stephen Malcolm, who has been one of the biggest mentors I've ever had the pleasure of meeting, working with, chopping it up and just talking about how life's been going on. Kiwi, Kamani Jones, like the whole squad, IMG. I got the chance to just chop it up with these amazing brothers in Christ throughout the 10 years that I've been making music for. And it's always been something that just feeds into my life, and it gives me more to grasp onto. Helps me understand who Christ is, who his body is. And during COVID, that all kind of came to a standstill. Cause I was coming to Grand Rapids. I was coming to the States once a week for months on end at a time. And when the border closed, I couldn't do that. So the connection, the communication, that all kind of slowly drifted off with some of us. Like we've got a group chat that we still kind of message each other like here and there in, but everybody kind of like separated, did their own thing. But one thing I found out is over time, like not having that fellowship, still being the oddball out in my city, because hip hop's not the biggest thing in my city. We're still a very country, punk orientated genre infused city. So hip hop, especially Christian hip hop, is incredibly sparse here. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm maybe the only one, if not one of two people who are doing CHH in my city. So there's not a whole lot of church shows. It's a lot of me going and opening for artists like, who's the one artist I opened for? Dizzy Wright. Tech Nine was my most recent one. And I feel like that's kind of the big thing that God put, like the reason why God was like, listen, here's hip hop. Here's your mission. Your mission is to go to these places, go to these bars, go to these club-like settings, open for these artists who don't know me, and share my name with everybody that's there. So that's kind of been my journey in music. The last couple of years have been pretty difficult. I've still managed to keep up my music. There's been a couple of times where I've been very incredibly discouraged and not wanting to write anything. But overall, I've been super thankful to the people that I have around me. I've been super thankful for the people that have molded into me and just really put their hands on me the last 2 years and really just encouraged me to keep fighting, keep moving, and keep having faith that no matter what, there's purpose to this plan.
Couple things you had said that stuck out to me. One was, being ostracized from the church. I would like for you to dive into that. And another one was, and I'm saying this so I don't forget. And another one was how hip hop was a form of it was like an outlet for you in a sense. You was not only dishing out, but you was also taking in, right? You was learning to be tougher. This was your intention coming in. And we always talk on this podcast how music has a spiritual connection. Oh, so the third thing was how music can alter a person's mind state, right? The words. So those are three things I wanted to not forget. I want to ask you about those things. So first, let's start off with the being ostracized from a church. How do you come back from something like that? Being somebody who grows up in the church, now being ostracized. How do you then turn back to the Lord after that?
That was tough. Looking back on it, not knowing how traumatizing that is for a 12-year-old kid who's dealing with his own issues, dealing with his already set trauma. It was tough because it wasn't just me and my mom and my sisters. It was me, my mom, my sisters, and my grandparents on my mom's side, because they were both my grandparents on my mom's side were both very much so listen, there's certain things they were speaking out against things they didn't agree with in the church, which is 100% you are allowed as a person of faith, you are allowed to challenge those in leadership.
Yeah, facts.
And essentially, what was I forget what the pastor had said, but he said something about leaving the back door open so that if you wanted to leave, you can leave. And that really made my grandparents feel like the however many years they had gone to that church for at least a decade or two. And they just felt like it all came to a standstill. They were like, we don't even understand why this is going on. And so they were ostracized from the church as well. And so not realizing how traumatic that was, I look back and I feel like for the longest time, I looked at it and I always had for at least a few years going into our new church, I had at least 1 foot out the door at all times, mentally. I was always semi okay, here's the church. I'm going to be right here. I'm not going to be right here with it, but let's keep a distance. We'll be in there, but we're going to be emotionally separated from it. We'll keep my emotional
safety barrier, keeping up that wall.
Exactly. And the dope part
keeping that back door open, right?
Exactly. And the biggest thing that kind of showed me that not all churches are dangerous. There's some churches, there's some people that are just there to love you and mold into you and put their hands on you and just help you out. And that's what I got from there's a church in Grand Rapids called the Edge Urban Fellowship.
Yeah, and shout out to the Edge, man. I keep hearing about that church. I gotta go visit, man.
Man, when I the first time I went to GR was one of the first times I went to GR was that was the first time I had met a lot of them in person. I had met Steven, I had met Mark, I had met Beacon, but the rest of them, Peasy, Kiwi, the rest of those guys, PE, the moment I stepped in that church, it was welcoming all at once. There was no, oh, this kid is he's a young kid from Canada. Like there was none of that. It was just welcome. What's going on in your life? What can we pray for you for? And I was like, man, this is awesome. And so PE for the longest time, he was just every time I had a question, every time I like was struggling with something, he would immediately be like, yo, let's chop it up. Hit me up this day and we'll talk about it. Like no questions. And so like I spent a lot of my time talking with PE, talking with Zaymar, Steven. Like I spent like basically my whole from at least the ages of 17 up until even now, just spend as much time trying to hit them up and just grow, because those are the people, that is the circle that I feel sharpens me the most.
So what would you say about those walls today? Do you still have those walls up?
I definitely feel like in some cases, now that I'm a little bit older and a little bit wiser, and I kind of see some different churches, because like social media, you get to see a lot of different angles of a church, and like a ton of different churches. I feel like the walls necessarily aren't there, but there's man, I'm not really feeling what he's saying right now. But sometimes I feel like that's something that I got to look into my heart and understand, like try to figure out what's going, like why I feel a certain way. And then if I feel a certain way and it's backed up with scripture, then I challenge myself to be like, okay, then how can I maybe challenge other people to figure out why they feel a certain type of way too.
I like that because I truly believe that we go through the things we go through so that we can relate to the people that God is sending us to, you know what I mean? And
100%.
You know, so that's why I kind of wanted to, find out what was it that, because most people, right, when they dealing with church hurt, they actually hold that against God for some reason, right?
Yep.
Where it's like, I'm going to turn away from God, but it doesn't sound like you did that. It sounds like more like you put up a wall against the church, but not necessarily towards God. At least that's how I'm perceiving it. Maybe I'm wrong and you can correct me, but the reason why I highlight that, because I think it's so important for us not to allow men to get us offended towards God. Because as much as God is on your side and there's people that are going to represent God, those people are just humans, so they're gonna have error. They're going to let you down. One thing I always tell people around me is don't put your trust in me. Because as much as I love you, as much as I'm going to rock with you, I promise you there's going to be a day that I'm going to let you down. You're going to hold me to a standard that I'm not going to be able to fulfill. And if you're putting everything on that, like, oh, I love Meezy, he's a man of God, this is why I believe in God. If that's what you're doing, then you're setting yourself up for failure. So why wasn't that with you? What was it about your relationship with God, that even though you went through the church hurt, you were still, you know what I mean? Like you still ended up in Grand Rapids, like you still moving and you trying to do what you do.
I feel like a big part of that was because of my grandfather. The man was one of the, it's hard to describe him. So my grandfather, for the longest time, I don't even know how long he had been a Christian for. I'm assuming he had been a Christian like from the womb until he passed. But the man had such a fire and such a knowledge of the word and of Jesus that it was contagious. He never
shout out to grandpops. Shout out to grandpops holding it down, doing what God called him to do.
He never once, at least from what I had seen, he had never once blamed God for what had happened in the church. He had never once blamed God for anything that had happened to us kids. if anything, he would look at that and he would, it's why he pushed me so hard as a kid. It was, hey, like, summer vacation, you're not on vacation, you're out working with me in the garden, you're going down to the beach, we're raking up whatever we can, using it as fertilizer, we're going into the bush, getting some wood cut for the winter, we're going out, we're fixing some of the trails so the tractor can get to the house we're building for you guys. Like, it was always like, he's like, let's take you and let's mold you into a man right now. And I will forever, like, at the time I didn't understand why I was being pushed so hard. Like, I would have days where it's like I was moving rocks and my hands were just like they were on fire. I'd take my gloves off and I had blisters that would bleed everywhere all the time, and I'd be like, man, why is my grandfather pushing me so hard? Like, all I need to do is like have somebody to go easy on me. And now that I look back, I'm like, that is exactly what I needed, because like now as an adult, I love work. I love, like, that's the reason why I have such a passion for music, because I treat it as a job. I love to work. I love to stay productive. I love what, if I am breathing, I'm here to have a purpose and serve. And that is one thing that, so another big thing about my grandpa is he was also in the missions field. He not only did prison ministry over in Russia for I don't know how many years, but the man did. He would go to prisons in Russia. He'd go to like gulags, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And he would spread the gospel to those who were in jail. But when he stopped doing that, when he came home and he felt he was too old to do it anymore, he started doing ministry within rehab centers. There's a Christian rehab center we had for a long time called Teen Challenge North, and essentially that is a Christian-based
Shout out
rehab.
to Teen Challenge, man. Teen Challenge out here changing lives for real. Word. Shout out to Teen Challenge.
And we had like the people that he would talk to and he would serve. It was incredible, because like some of these people were from like Toronto, Mississauga, bigger cities down south in Canada. And like they come to this rehab center to get them out of that environment, and they would learn about Jesus, and they would be put into this program that's all they learned, is they learned how to trust Jesus. And my grandpa he never judged a single one of them for the problems that they were going through, for their addictions that they had. This man walked by each and every single one of them with more love than I have ever seen another man give to anybody. And I can only imagine what that was like in Russia when he was doing that. And so that inspired me to want to be at least half the light that this man was. And for me, going back on that question about like why I don't feel like I didn't blame God for anything, is because I was too young to really understand what had happened. Like, yeah, I was more so like, why did they kick my grandparents and my mom out of the church? I didn't really, like, I was just one of the kids that went to the church. I was like, oh yeah, I'm a kid, I don't really matter at the church, whatever. I didn't really start having questions about my faith and my character overall until my grandfather was diagnosed with cancer. And that was when I really started. This was around COVID. And that's when I kind of really started going, like, this man has done nothing but serve his entire life. And this man has done nothing but give absolutely everything he has to loving people, loving Jesus, and spreading his word. And this man now has a tumor that doesn't allow him to process his words or things that he's trying to get across. The man had the biggest vocabulary. The man could quote scripture front and back blindfolded. The man could speak English, Russian, I don't know how many, a couple other languages to my knowledge. And just like that, it was gone. He couldn't do anything like that. So I spent a lot of time during COVID more so just looking at myself and questioning God, like, why would you do this? He was your perfect servant. He was, to me, he was perfect. Yeah, he was a man, he had his flaws, but
So when
for
you
me,
say, God, why would you do this? What do you mean by that?
I think for me, I was, when I got the news he had cancer, I was kind of like, oh, it's cancer, we can catch it in time. But when we caught it, it was stage 4, so it was pretty much irreversible. And so I was just kind of like, is this really how the man that I've looked up to so much, is this really how his journey ends? Is this really how his walk ends? And so I just kind of like, one night I was sitting in the studio and I was just kind of like writing some songs, and I don't remember what podcast it was or what it came on. It was like an ad for something on like YouTube or whatever, and it was about the kind of cancer he had and like explaining the effects of it. And I was just I slammed my computer shut and I broke down and I was like, why would you give somebody who's, I just immediately questioned, like, he's done nothing but serve you, he's done nothing but love you, and he's done nothing but love your people. Why is this happening to him? And as time went on, time got worse. Like, he got worse. He went through his chemo, he went through his radiation, like he went through all of that, and he got better briefly. And I kind of neutraled out. I kind of came to a standstill. And then he got worse again. So that's kind of when I hit my point where I was like, man, I'm mad at God. Like, there's nobody that can convince me otherwise. Like, I was questioning absolutely everything I had stood for, all because the man that raised me and the man that showed me and questioned, like, and helped me understand who Jesus was, is no longer able to share that portion of him. And I was a mess. Like, I was an absolute mess. I went through like a radical transformation of like reconstructing myself. I kind of went into a spot where I switched genres very briefly. I went from hip hop music and I went back to that phase where I was like, yo, let's go into this other genre. Let's dabble in this other genre. I was working on like punk music. I was working on some pretty like aggressive stuff. And then we went to Thanksgiving that year. And I'm sitting there, and I had been the one to kind of like carry the mantle for like praying for food, like praying for the meal and everything like that. Cause that's something we do, is we sit down before every single meal. We pray together as a family, and we don't just bless the food. We pray about a lot. Like, it's a full blown, like, we connect as a family and we pray for each other. We pray for the food, and we pray that Jesus just makes us better. And when I sat down, I helped my grandpa to the table, and my grandma instead of looking at me, he looked at my grandfather, and she's like, Pat, do you want to pray for dinner? And he was just he looked up, and he kind of like under his breath was just kind of like mumbling because he couldn't really say much. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the man just starts praying. Completely understand it. Like, I could understand every single word he said. The man was angelic. And I looked at him and I broke down, and I was like, even though he has this cancer, you still haven't left him. You still haven't stopped loving him, and even though he doesn't really know what's going on right now because of the cancer, you still love him, and you still hold him in your hands, and you're not gonna, there's a plan for this. Even though this disease is so deadly, there's still a plan for all of this. And so that, I got home that night, and I broke down, and I was just like, God, whatever you need me to do to fix whatever I've broken, whatever I've done, like just have your will be done and just come into my life and just completely radically transform who I am. I'm yours. I am your vessel. Let me be your light again. And from that moment forward, it was just anything that happened with my grandfather. I was like, I know that I'm not gonna have him around very long, but he's taught me everything that I need for this moment. And he's given me the wisdom to understand that Christ will always be in control no matter what. And so he passed away earlier this year, and shortly after he passed away, I put out an album that I had been working on during my transformation back into who I am today. And I had finished mixing and mastering the album that night that I got the call that he was gone. And I feel like every time I listen to that album now, I look back and I'm like, this was supposed to happen for me to understand that even though he's still not with me, his legacy and his understanding of Christ is carried on through me. And that's why I'm still doing what I'm doing today, is to carry on my legacy, carry on my grandfather's legacy, to carry on his understanding of Christ and his wisdom and his love for other people, and put that out into the world.
So first and foremost, man, let's take 12 seconds of silence for your grandpops. Yeah, shout out to grandpops. You know, hearing the story about your grandpops, I can't help but notice how, you know, no matter what he went through, he stood firm on what it is that he believed in, you know, and that represented something to you. Even though you was feeling emotional about whatever was going on, you know, the fact that your grandpops was still standing firm, I believe that preached a lot to you, more than probably a sermon could, right? It was a demonstration of his belief and his faithfulness for God that, you know, I could probably say, and I'll be probably willing to say that your upbringing and having your grandpops in your life is probably why being kicked out of the church didn't offend your relationship with God. I could see how you would start to question God with your grandpops, but what I'm saying is your grandpops represented this solid foundation of who God was, right? And again, man, shout out to your grandpops for that. When we read the story of Abraham, you know, God calls Abraham out from his family so that he would teach his family, and like Abraham would teach his own household the law, statutes, and commandments of God, the ways of God, you know. And a lot of times it's easy to say that Jesus is king when everything works in your favor. It's when the things don't work in your favor and you still choose to say Jesus is king that there's some glory there, right? Like me, I'm in a wheelchair, been in a wheelchair for the last 9 years, and it's a little bit, I like to think at least that it's a little bit different when I say Jesus is king versus, you know, my boy that's with me that's on his feet, got a good job, and he say Jesus king. Maybe not to everybody, but I know there's certain people that would probably listen more to me than to my boy. Now, my boy loves Jesus, right? But what I'm saying is that it's in our tough times, what we choose to stand on is what speaks louder than any Bible verse that we can quote, any amount of times that we can show up to a church. It's when things are not going your way. Who do you serve? You know what I mean? Who are you faithful to? And I believe it's so important for fathers, grandfathers, you know, people out there with families to represent who God is, but not only just quoting verses, in a lifestyle, the way that you live, the way you make your decisions, the way you respond to people should always be something that represents God, because we never know who's watching. You know what I mean? And, you know, thankfully, you know, your grandpops was so solid that his own grandson was watching him the whole time. You know what I mean? So that when things started getting crazy on his side, he had like a point of reference to go back to. You know what I mean? Yep. So again, man, shout out to your grandpops. You know, yeah, man, shout out to grandpops, man. I think he was a dope example, not only for you, but just even for us hearing the story. Because it's so, you know, so often I see, you know, people lose faith because of whatever trials they go through, you know, and even you was being honest and transparent about it when you like, yo, seeing my grandpops go through it had me questioning God, right? So way too often we see that happening, you know, so it's a breath of fresh air when we do find people going through, you know, some of the worst times in life after they've been nothing but servants and still say Jesus is king. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
Like, word, man. Shout out to grandpops. Go ahead, Licio, man. I know, you know, you've been sitting there patiently waiting for your time to blow.
So, Bo Noize, I knew about your grandfather passing away. I remember seeing your post, and I can't remember what I said, but I do remember going into my prayer closet after seeing that post, after reading it, and I can tell how influential he was to you. I didn't know, you know, like the upbringing and everything, but I knew that he was a very important factor in your season where you were. And I remember saying that prayer over you while in my prayer closet. So I'm glad I had a chance tonight to hear, you know, the full story, full circle. You know, cancer can be devastating for everybody. My uncle is, I think he just turned 70, I think, this past December. And I want to say he beat cancer through leukemia and everything. So, you know, cancer has, you know, some daily aspects of it, and then there's some people who come out victorious, and those are the people that we want to, I guess, congratulate. And the fact that your grandfather was going through everything that he was going through on a personal level, and still being there for you, whether he could talk or, you know, just you remembering all the things that he did with you growing up, man. Again, those memories will be something that you hold forever. And when you have your kids, you can tell them about, you know, the things that you and your grandfather did, and, you know, what shaped you to the man that you are today.
Yeah, word. Facts. I agree with that. I agree. So there was two other questions I wanted to focus on, but let's get into some music, because this is the GodSon listening party. So what do we got up? What we got on deck right now, Alicia?
So he got this song called "Bring the War," and you know, with everything that happened with your grandfather, and you still being here fighting for the faith, still putting out music despite, you know, those short periods that you took away from music and you didn't want to have nothing to do with music. You're back now, putting your foot on Satan's neck, letting him know that you're about the kingdom business because your grandfather, you know, instilled that in you, and that you are now a workhorse. So I think it's only fitting that, you know, Satan wants to do this to my grandfather, so now he got to get a black eye.
Big fact.
Yeah, I like that. So for the people watching, information is at the bottom of the screen. You know what we say here, take one hand and watch the other. Both hands go watch the whole body, man. So go share something, support something, subscribe to something, or even stream his music. You know, that goes a long way. So into the bro, you know what I mean? So information at the bottom of the screen. We're going to get into this joint right here called Bring the War. Let's get it.
Okay, I'm reloaded.
Let's go. Shout out to Bo Noize.
Ain't no fear, man, time to go off. Always kept it real, time to show off. They don't want the smoke, so I live. These demons never win, so I tell them that they gotta bring the warrior. Bring the warrior.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Bring the warrior. Bring the warrior.
All glory
Bring
to
the
God.
warrior. Bring the warrior.
Let's go, shit it love.
Okay, I bring the war, got my holy force. You can't hang with us, bring the smoke. I want every bit. Is you man enough? Till kingdom come, I run it up. You ain't about to jam it up. My granddad told me grace is undeserved, but we still got that love like boom. My boy Steven on a roll, got the flow. There's levels to the skill we bringin', time to go. There ain't no drama in my space. I don't let ops around my people. I keep clear from all the stakes. I give thanks for all my blessings. I wouldn't be here without them. Trying to live my life to the fullest, cause that grace is astounding. I've been to a couple places with people broken and battered. If I'm called to pack my life up to go to serve them, I'm out there. That's the great commission we live in, fighting for all these souls. If my savior bore a cross, that's the least I can do to show that he saved me from my sin.
Let's go. Shout out to the chat.
This ain't music, this a sermon. The life that I
see you, Axel.
Ain't no fear in man, time to go off. Always kept it real, time to show off. They don't want the smoke, so I live. These demons never win, so I tell them that they gotta bring the warrior. 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 Bring the warrior.
All glory to God.
All glory to God.
Ready to go, cause I know he's in control. So I've been rocking the boat. Ain't gonna lose my way or lose my faith, cause I'm in full of that hope. Ready to give my all, do or die. Cause of the sacrifice, I'm alive. Ain't gonna switch up, never sell out, cause I've been bought with a price. Still on that same old mission, study the same old writtens. I was stuck for a long time, got the hindsight, I was tripping. But now I got new vision, cause Jesus got me different. But it still ain't easy, cause every day I gotta battle these demons. Go in for the Godhead, give him my praise when I break bread, making my statement. Came a long way on the stage from the basement. I'm so blessed, that grace is amazing, dog. You know I'm proud, cause we got the weaponry. I know I'm standing tall over the enemy. If I fall short, I know my God's ahead of me. He bore my burdens and took all my penalties, yeah. Me and my squad on a roll, IMG until we fall, yeah. We ain't never gonna stop, no eternity's the goal, ayy, whoa. I know that he's in control, I know G.O.D. the goal, ayy, yeah. I can't wait to see his face, 10,000 reasons and I know that there's more. Ain't no fear in man, time to go off.
Let's go, let's go. Shout out to Noize.
They don't want the smoke, so
shout out to Canada.
These demons never win, so bring the warrior, 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 bring the warrior.
I like that. Yo, Licio, take over for a quick second, man. I gotta handle something real quick.
Hey, man, I just want to let out a PSA real quick, man. If y'all don't know who Bull Noize is, if that's your first time hearing his track, man, y'all just strap in, because he got more music on the way. He got a project dropping soon, and he's dropped plenty of projects in the past. So if you guys haven't streamed his music already, please do so. I want to say for the better half of 2.5 years before COVID, I've been a fan of your music, and I'm glad to have you on the show tonight, bro.
Thank you, bro. That means a lot.
So you know, with us as humans, we never understand why God, you know, took our family member or took someone that we was close to, could be a pet or, you know, a relative or a family or a family member or a friend. So, you know, with you being away from music, what inspired you and motivated you to, you know, come back despite all of, you know, life challenges?
I think for that answer is super easy. It's understanding that, again, it goes right back to my grandfather. He had the strongest work ethic I've ever seen in my life. I don't think the man ever missed a day of work. Unless it was even on Sunday. Sometimes he would go to church. He would come home. He would tend to the garden, come back inside, have lunch, and then go back out. The man was one of the hardest workers I've ever met in my life. And I think for me, when I finally understood that that God still had this favor on my grandfather, even through his sickness, I looked at that and I was like, even though he might not understand what's going on in my life, he wouldn't want me to stop doing what I love doing. He wouldn't want me to quit losing. He wouldn't want me to quit when I have this ability to do something and do it incredibly well.
Amen. I don't know who is her name, Delaney Holgate. Did I pronounce it right? I don't know who that is, but she's been tapped in since the beginning. We want to say we appreciate you, Delaney, for watching live tonight, as well as Regina, who is our good friend Gina. We played some music from Salt earlier. Shout out to him. He just tapped in. So, you know, if you guys haven't subscribed, please do. Bold Noise, when I approached you with this opportunity to be on the GodSon listening party tonight, what was your first reaction, and why did you say yes about being a guest?
I thought it was dope. I love having any opportunity to just chop it up with uh, people who have listened to my music, have kind of like been on this journey with me. Um, and I just love having the opportunity to just share my story and to just kind of feed into other people, because that's just always what I've done. Is I've always looked for opportunities to feed into other people and ask if there's anything that they need prayer for, and if there's anything that I can help relate to. That's always just been my biggest thing, is just focus on loving people, and Jesus will do the rest.
For sure. A lot of us, well, not a lot of us, but more than half of the people on planet Earth, they want to do music. So, but some people are not. You can do music, but that doesn't mean that you have the gift to do it, which means that it's not an anointing that God has put on your life. So, with you doing music, why do you think God chose you to do music?
I feel like it was one of those things that growing up, like I had said prior, my dad, he played saxophone, high school, college. He played saxophone for one of the churches we attended. My mom, she played piano. She was in a quartet at one of the churches that we also attended. And I was actually I'd learned how to be the sound guy for their quartet. So I kind of got pushed into the technical side of things before anything else. I was like 9, 10 years old, working a soundboard flawlessly. And I just feel like with all the musical influence in my life, when I kind of started writing, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, this stuff might not be good now, but if I keep working on it, I know that it's going to be good. And when my craft started to evolve and my skills started to rise, once it got to a certain point, that's kind of when that's I think when God just kind of looked at it and went, okay, you know what? You're ready to start doing this. You're ready to start pursuing this for me and for my kingdom, and that's how it's going to be. And so when I heard that call, when I started helping out with the junior youth group, that's just kind of when I was like, I want to do this seriously. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I know that if I continue to do this, one, I'll be super, super good at it. And two, I'll be able to just pour into people's lives and give them something to connect to as well.
Now, with you touching, thousands, millions of lives, on these digital platforms with your music, what is the greatest? Okay, how can I ask this? What is the best feedback that you have ever received from either an album or a single?
I feel like the best in terms of like feedback that has given somebody hope to continue going. Like I've gotten tons of feedback that's been like, oh yeah, this is great music, awesome song. Like this is probably one of the best songs the city has put out. Like I've gotten tons of feedback from hundreds, thousands of people that have just been like, yeah, we love your music. We love this message. It's awesome. I think the one person that I remember this absolutely vividly. This was my first show back from when COVID had everything shut down. So this is actually this past, I'm trying to remember, sometime in the last it was 2021, 2022, somewhere in that gap. I had just finished my set, and somebody that I had worked on music with in the past, one of the other hip hop artists in the city, came up to me and he's like, buddy, I've been dealing with so much lately the last little bit. I had been like, I had seen some of his stuff posted on some of the stuff he had posted on Facebook when he was out of town working. And I was like, man, this guy he's hurting. He's not doing the best right now. So when I put my set together that night, like I had put certain songs together. And when I finished my set, he came up to me. He's like, buddy, like I needed this. I was in so much pain. I missed I'd missed my family for so long. I had missed the people that I normally around, and I am just miserable right now. And you gave me some hope to continue going and to keep moving and to keep loving people and to keep fighting for my family. And I was like, man, that's got to be one of the dopest things I've ever heard, ever, in terms of what I had done for somebody through my music.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. If for those who are watching, you see us, grinding, you see us, doing shows, but you have no idea what's going on in our real life. so
if the walls could talk, right? If the walls could talk, man.
So either to hear that, like you heard it, after a set, or like with Jay Meezy or I, if you inbox us and we read it and it makes us cry, that gives us extra motivation to keep going. Not only to know that God is, proud of us in any kind of aspect, but to hear that it touched you in a way, yeah, that's even more encouragement to keep us going strong.
Yeah, facts. There was something that you had said earlier, and maybe this could be a little segue into, this conversation that we've been having on the podcast. But you said, words have the ability to change. Like, certain type of music have the ability to put you in that type of space, that negative space and all of that. Elaborate a little bit on that, and then elaborate on that first.
So when I was growing up, like I was listening to a lot of like metal, like death metal. Like it was like the really heavy like scream riffs, drums that had like 50 kick patterns within the span of like a minute and a half, and then punk music, which was like Blink-182 and some like really really edgy early 2000s punk bands. Not the healthiest kind of music for a kid growing up, who didn't have the best upbringing in his in his early teen years. So those kind of things, like I was listening to bands that were like basically like there was a lot of it was basically a lot of damnation and a lot of evil. And I noticed myself, the more I listened to it, and the more, like, when my mom found out I was listening to this kind of stuff, she'd be like, no, I'm not going to let you listen to this stuff anymore. I was like, Ma, no, you don't understand this, that, like, it's not affecting me. I just really like the music. It sounds good, which it did sound good. Like, that music to this day, like, I went back, like, about a month or so ago, and I just hit shuffle on my music library, and one of those songs came on, and I was like, you know what? It sounds phenomenal in terms of, like, sonic. Like, I've always been somebody that loves music for how it sounds.
Yeah,
and
me too.
When I sat down and actually like dissected it, I was like, man, this is an evil song. Like it's like crusade level, like super like crusade pagan, like evil witchcraft kind of music. And I was like, this is what I was listening to when I was like in the years that were really forming who I am. I was like, what was I doing?
Yeah, no, that's crazy that you say that, man, because, just to tie it into the conversation we've been having, I'm sure you're familiar with the rant that Kanye West has been going on lately.
Yep.
He's been, making his rounds and all that. But, so one of the points that he makes is the music and the content of the music, how people are praising adultery, people are praising murder, people are praising, using drugs and this, that, and the third, and then listening to what you're saying about how music, the words, the sound has the ability to, alter our reality, put us in these zones. What's your thoughts on Kanye right now running around? Now, I'm not talking about the Jewish stuff that he's been saying, because I know, that I think he might have painted with a broad brush or stroke or whatever, however you say that. But what I am talking about is the music itself. What's your thoughts on that?
Man, I found it very I found it kind of hard to kind of get into that kind of stuff just because it's been heartbreaking to hear a lot of what's been going on. Like one of my favorite artists going down this kind of path. And like I went when Kanye came out with Jesus is King, like I was in comment sections on my Facebook, man. I was like I was defending the guy like I knew the guy, because like it was this man had changed, like he converted his life over to Jesus and like gave it all to him, and he came out with this really, really good body of work. Jesus is King is still one of my favorite pieces to this day. Donda is probably one of the best albums I have heard in a very, very long time. And I was just kind of sitting there going, like all of these people that were like going, oh, this is just a money grab. Oh, this is just Kanye's just doing this to branch out into another thing. I was like, not really. If you look at the man's like upbringing, like you would understand that the man has some knowledge of who Jesus is and what the gospel is. But seeing this like transformation, it was almost radical to see the transformation. And I was kind of like, I had made a track, and I had shared it for a little bit. But I was just kind of like, the biggest thing for me was like, take the plank out of your own eye before you pull the speck out of somebody else's. But with everything going on, it's like, it's very hard for me to kind of see that, because like that was kind of like, in terms of like the fall of, I would say more so the fall of his mentality right now, because that's where that is right now. Is the man needs help, and I needed help 2 years ago. I had hit a point where I was not okay and I needed help, and when I finally got the help I needed and surrounded myself with people who sharpened me up more, then that's kind of where I was like, okay, I understand where I went wrong, and I understand what I was like, finally understanding what I was really doing, and took the steps to fix that. So I'm personally, for me, I still dig Kanye. I still dig Kanye's music. Like, the man has made some of my, like, in terms of like songs that I grew up on and still listen to this day, like that come on my playlist, even my workout playlist. The man has some outstanding music. One of the, like, in terms of music, the man's an absolute genius. There's no ever doubting the fact that Kanye is an absolute genius when it comes to music. But the man needs prayer, and he needs an army of it.
So, so you know, one of the big things that people have been talking about, and I feel like people have been super offended about, is his comment on saying that he loved Hitler. And considering John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, right? How do you view that statement for Kanye West to say that he loves Hitler?
Growing up in a family, like growing up with like a lot of family members who fought again, a lot of my family has been in the military. Having a lot of family members specifically that fought, like great grandparents, step grandparents, like a lot of people who have fought in World War II, and have witnessed some of the monstrosities that happened during World War II. So I'm not sure how it works, like stateside, like, because I know we have a completely different school curriculum, but when in our curriculum, when we talk about the war and stuff like that, when we talk about like history lessons, if it's like World War II history, it's a lot of like, for us, we have Canadian history. And one thing that we're always taught about is one thing that we're always taught about is the Holocaust, and how evil and how destructive that was. And for me, I completely disagree with Kanye on that. It's heartbreaking to hear someone could love a man with that much evil content in his heart, to murder millions just because of their race. Completely baffles me.
So do you think that when Jesus gave his life, was Hitler included in that?
100%. In terms of that, though, we are all given a choice on whether or not to follow Jesus. And from what we've seen in history, it's very obvious that's not the route. And so I don't think we should be celebrated. I don't think it's something to celebrate when a man murders a massive quantity of a race of people.
So was Kanye West celebrating the murder, or was he saying that, he loves Hitler?
In terms of that, I don't know what Kanye was thinking, but at the same time, I don't think, regardless, we should be celebrating somebody like Hitler. Period.
Okay, I respect that. What's your thoughts, Licio?
I don't have any thoughts.
Well, for me, we all gonna have different opinions, and that's why we're the body of Christ, and we reason with each other and all of that, right? Like, we all agree that without Christ, neither one of us is justified, right? But if I had to give my opinion on, yes, I agree. Hitler, all the things he did, those atrocities, Holocaust, I don't agree with none of that. You know what I mean? That was all evil. But when I'm thinking about just in my own personal life, some of the things that I've done in my own life, that nobody has ever seen, so nobody could report on it. You know what I mean? And to think that God will still step into my life, I kind of understand what Kanye West is saying about, he loves Hitler, because if we're being honest, the scripture says, as much as depends on us, live at peace with all men. Bless those who curse you, all of that, right? So God is calling us to a place of representing his love. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. And it says that God demonstrated his own love, that while men were still sinners, Christ died for them. And so in through that lens, I could see where Kanye West would say, I love Hitler. Now I'm not sure if I'm not sure if what he's saying includes all the murderous things that Hitler did, as much as I think that he's probably addressing, just the fact that Hitler was created in the image and likeness of God, and to say that, I love you regardless of how much of a sinner you are, how evil you was, for me that kind of represents God's love for humanity, right? We think about the Israelites. Israelites ate their own children. You know what I mean? I'm not sure how familiar you are with the Old Testament, but they ate their own children, right? At a point in time where they went through something. And yet God showed up and still gave his life for them, right? To reconcile them back. Not only for them, but just for the whole world. So in that, and through that perspective, I can understand Kanye West saying, I love Hitler. Whether he meant that if he meant the murderous stuff and all the evil stuff, because we all know all the evil stuff he did, yeah, I wouldn't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? But as much as saying that I can love somebody, or that I should love somebody who probably, doesn't deserve it, I could see how he could say that, because God loved me when I didn't deserve it. You know what I mean? There's been times that I've literally drove down the block and shot into a crowd of people just trying to hit one person, but not caring who else got hit in the midst. You know what I mean? And to think that I could be ran over on the highway, the main vein that goes to my heart was detached. Like, I had no blood circulation going through my body, and yet God would still keep me alive. I had no reason to be alive, bro. You know what I mean? I would have killed somebody for money. I would have took your mom's Christmas presents that she had for you if she ain't have money to buy the crack. You know what I mean? Like, those are the things I would have done. I would have ruined somebody's Christmas. You know, some kid's Christmas that was, you know, looking at their moms like, finally you bought me something. 10 years later, and here I come, and I would have took that gift out of your Christmas tree. You know what I mean? For just to feed my own family. And to think that God will still love me, you know, I can understand how Kanye West would say that, that he loves Hitler. Again, I don't agree with the atrocities. I'm a son of God, bro. Like, we represent life on this side, right? So those things I definitely don't agree with. I think we've had the conversation where I've even said that, you know, there's things that Kanye West was saying that maybe he didn't articulate correctly. You know what I mean? I get the point that he was addressing. Just I'm not sure with the generalizations that he be making. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not one of those type of people to make generalization statements like that. But when he did say the Hitler part, I seen so many people throwing stones at him, you know, and rightfully so, right? Because people do have a right to feel the way that they feel. Some people got family members that are still alive, you know, that survived some of that stuff. So you rightfully so. But I'm saying that even in that place, right, is there more glory in loving somebody who doesn't deserve it than there is to love somebody who shows up to church every day, who does everything according to the book? Like, where's the glory? Is there more glory in loving somebody who don't deserve it or loving somebody who deserves it? That's what I ask myself. I'm not asking you the question. That's just a question that I ask myself when I consider these things, because, you know, remembering the grace that God had for me, I have to consider that for everybody, even somebody like Hitler, even the worst person. I don't know who the worst person is now, because, you know, I don't be on point like that. But that's how I would reason it, you know. And so again, this isn't a right or wrong. You know, we're sons and daughters of God in this chat and in this podcast. But, you know, there is a place, man, where we could, you know, reason, and it stands to reason that God loved a bunch of people who hated him, people that crucified him, people that, you know, wasn't living for God, you know what I mean? And yet God will still demonstrate his love by giving his own son, you know, like, and that's big, man. That is super big in my opinion. So I just pray that no matter what I go through, you know, and I've been going through some things, man. Like, this Christmas really wasn't it wasn't a Merry Christmas for me. You know, but that's neither here nor there. But even in that place, I have to choose to love. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to. I can hold a lot of things against people. I could throw a lot of stones if I wanted to start picking up rocks. But if I start throwing rocks, who's gonna stop somebody from throwing a rock at me? Because I promise you, you know, as much as I could come across and quote these scriptures to y'all and do these podcasts and love on the body and all that, I'm still a human, and there's still thoughts that go through my mind that are not righteous, and I have to take these thoughts captive, you know, and make them submit to God, right? You know, and one of those thoughts is, you know, some dude try to move on my daughter. Like, when I say move, he try to, like, rape my daughter, and I had to take the thought captive of not killing this dude. You know what I mean? Because for me to resort to something like that, it's not a hard thing. You know what I mean? Like, I come from a very rough environment, and murder was just another thing that just goes down in the hood, right? So, and then I felt justified, like, but I had to choose for myself to say, you know what? God is God here, and I have to submit to what he would do. And God says, live at peace with all men, bless those who curse you. So every night I find myself praying for this dude. And, you know, if I'm being honest, if I'm being all the way honest, I pray for this dude because out of obedience for God, not because I want to pray for him and not because I really want him to be blessed. Sometimes I have to take thoughts captive to say, you know how there's a scripture that says, if you pray for them, that heaps up coals on their head. So sometimes I feel like I'll be praying so that God can throw more coal on their head. And then I have to check my heart and be like, come on, man, like, am I really doing that? You know, so I can understand your position, but I can also understand my position. And again, I mean, we're here to reason, and by no means we're not here to worship any man. So if he's wrong, he's wrong. You know what I mean? I don't agree with, Hitler did some bad, evil things. I don't agree with none of that. You know what I mean? But if you're simply saying that I should love a person even through that because God loves them, then I can honestly say from my heart that, yeah, I can agree with that as much as I might struggle to do that. But I guess that's something I would have to, like Paul says, beat your flesh into submission. I would have to make my flesh submit to that because I know God tells me to, you know what I mean? But that's just me. Again, this isn't a right or wrong. I just felt like it was a dope segue because you did mention on how words and music has the ability to change, people's, frequencies, vibes, whatever. And one of the things that Kanye West has really been talking about is how come we can go to the top 10 right now of music and we're witnessing a Holocaust happen right now in real time. And we're praising it. We're making songs about it. We're celebrating it. And this mad dude's dying right now because of this music. And yet this is on the top 10. And so him addressing that, I could say, yeah, I agree with that. You know what I mean? I can agree. To warm up my car, I gotta leave my radio on because it'd be crinkling and popping and all that. So I leave it on the radio station and I find myself constantly turning it off. You know what I mean? If it's not Nicki Minaj talking about, some perverted type of talk, it's somebody talking about the drugs they pop, and it's just all over the place. And I'm thinking to myself, why? Why is this so prevalent right now? And as a Christian, what do we do about it? You know what I mean? So I guess I would extend that question to you. As a Christian, when you hear the music that you're so much of a fan of, right? Because you mentioned Eminem, you've mentioned a couple people, right? So when you hear this music, where you are today in your heart, what's your perspective on it?
So now that I'm a lot older and I've had the time to kind of refine who I am, and I've had the people closest to me who have helped me help mold me into who I am. I kind of look at music. I look at music a lot differently than I did back then. Before I didn't really care about what I was listening to. I just listened to it because it sounded good. Now I'm very aware of what I'm listening to. Like, for example, if I'm, in the gym, if I'm, on a walk to go to work, if I'm just vibing out in my room on a day off, and I've got if I look at my music library right now, I can tell you exactly how many songs I have.
I love it. That boy focused over there.
I got 15,000 plus songs.
Wow.
Just on
All glory to God.
From music and I purchase every single thing I listen to. That's just I'm not a huge fan of streaming, being an artist that knows there's not a lot of money in streaming unless you're getting incredibly high amounts of streams. I look at it and go, okay, if I'm trying to support a local artist, if I'm trying to support one of my friends, I will buy their music immediately.
That's how it should be.
And same for
Appreciate
these big
you for that.
Same for these big artists, because a big thing that a friend of mine told me is because at one point I used to just go to YouTube and I used to just download the song off of YouTube, and then what ended up happening was he challenged me and he was like, listen, you as an artist, how would you feel if tomorrow I go to your YouTube and I just take all of your songs off of YouTube and I put them in my phone? And I was like, I'd be kind of mad because that's taking food out my mouth. And he's like, how do you think those other artists would feel? Even the artists that are making all that money, how do you think they would still feel if they were in your position? And I was like, you know what? You're right. I was like, that's a good point. And that's also, that's stealing too. That's one of, one of the commandments, thou shalt not steal. And so I'm like, that really
Man, I don't know. Yo, Alicia, I don't know, man. We've downloaded some music from you. Well, you just convicted me right now.
Instrumentals of certain songs. So I've done a ton of remixes of certain songs, and the only place you can get those is YouTube, because somebody's created that. But I always check to see if there's a download link. If there's no download link or no place to buy it, then it's all right, cool. I'll download that off YouTube then.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that I can get it offline. But when it comes to like overall music, like when I was challenged with that, it's like maybe like challenge yourself with this. And it's like, you know what? I totally understand that. I totally get that perspective. Challenged myself, and every time there's another thing that I think another thing that actually seeps into my head is whenever I buy like an album, like I'll use Lecrae's Church for Close 4 that just came out. When all the other Church Close albums came out, I was a teenager and I was a younger kid. So when this final installment came out, and I was like, oh, I'm an adult. I got money. I can actually take some time and I can spend this money on this album. And spending my money on somebody's project, I feel actually gives me a better listening experience, in my opinion.
It's more appreciated, right?
It's more appreciated because like you put your hard-earned money into this hard work, like this incredibly hard work project. And
it's like somebody giving you a Lamborghini versus you buying your Lamborghini.
Exactly. You learn to appreciate the craft a little bit more when you've put your efforts into it.
I like that, man. Shout out to you for making that point. Because the reality is, man, you know, as much as that the gospel is free, recording these songs is not free. You know, investing the time to record these songs is not free. Investing the time to write these songs is not free. It costs you time. Time that you can be doing something else. You know, so it always bugs me out when people try to make a case for like a Christian making money off of his talents, his ministry, whatever it be. I always tell people, man, the gospel is free, you're correct. But for somebody to travel to your city, get a venue, you know, get the choir leaders, you know, all of that, all the stuff that goes into putting on a church event, those things ain't free, you know. And if you truly believe in the message of God, then you shouldn't have a problem investing into the children of God who are going forth to preach this message, whether through music, ministry, whatever the case may be. But yeah, Licio, what's up, man? This is a dope podcast, number one. We played one song, and I feel like the conversation has been fire. You know what I mean? But go ahead, Licio.
So it is the listening party. We haven't played any of your videos yet. We do have 3 videos on deck. So I think it's only fitting that we get into some of your videos before we end the podcast. If that's okay with you, Jay Meezy.
No, I'm here. I'm here for all the shenanigans, you heard?
And I have no idea what happened to the Facebook video, but if you are watching on Facebook, we want to say thank you. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, we want to encourage you guys to subscribe, hit the notification bell. We got shows all this week, and I will be posting the January flyers very soon.
We shall be working, man. We shall be working. Please come through, hold us down, man. Subscribe to the channel. Help us get into the algorithm. You know, this brother Alicio, man, I gotta say, super honored to be able to do this podcast with him. You know, I know in his mind he thinks he's doing this podcast with me, but really I'm just working side by side with him to honor God. You know, and for those that don't know, this brother does go in a lot, man. He sets up the schedules. He gets the people for us to interview. He does the flyers. He's constantly promoting. So, man, if you agree with this brother's energy, man, go subscribe to the channel, man. Make it worth his while, because this brother be putting it in. Like, I promise you, man, I would have been exposed him. Probably not. But let's just say I would have. You know, word.
So, Bo Noize, you may know, you may not know, I'm a fan of yours. Anything you put out, I'm listening to it over 100 times. And when you dropped the Bo Noize Keep It Going project, I don't know if that was an album or EP, but when you dropped the project and I heard Keep It Going, I was like, bro, this is something epic. And I just enjoyed the whole, all the videos you put out. I want to say you put out Back Down. I think Do or Die was on that Keep It Going project.
You got Ride 6 p.m.
And, so I think Back Down was a video that I sent. Do you have the Back Down video?
I got the Back Down.
So Back Down was the first track that I listened to, and then I heard the Keep It Going joint, and I was like, bro, this dude is why nobody told me about Bold Noize? So as a favorite to me because my birthday was last week. I think we should play the Back Down video because it's one of my favorites. Fire.
All right, so we're going to get into this Back Down joint. Bold Noize is our guest tonight, all the way in from Canada. Information at the bottom of the screen. Go show that love and support. Yo, Bold Noize, man, super humble with you being here, super transparent, you know what I mean? Man, I'm honored to be able to wash your feet tonight. So with that, let's get into this Back Down. And you already know, man, share it live. Tag somebody that's going to tag somebody else, you heard?
Okay, I'm reloaded.
Let's go, let's go. Shout out to Bold Noize. Tag somebody to tag somebody else, you heard? We washing feet here tonight. The children of God will be known by their love.
All glory to God.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Y'all can't take me out, I'ma stand proud. God got by my side, I won't back down. This my peace of mind, man, I've been loud. And I'm walking on water so I won't drown. I won't back down, I won't back down. Y'all can't ever stop me, I won't back down.
Hey yo, shout out to the chat.
I won't back
I see y'all.
I won't back down.
All glory to
Y'all
God.
can't ever stop me, I won't back down. Can't stop, won't ever quit. Wordplay so eloquent. Whole squad in our element. We the X-Men, better let us in. Know I sound a little arrogant, but what I'm saying really relevant. And my life is a testament, so I follow God, he's the delegate. Been in all right in the most high. Trust me, I'll fight, that's no lie. When I write these rhymes, that's all God. When I'm on these beats, I go hard. Faces like gauges, they limes. Break chains cause Jesus saves lives. Build this from the ground, no cosign. Man, hip-hop.
Let's go, shout out to the body.
Never stopping, battle sin, I got no other option. Serving till my end, and that's on God, cause he saved my soul, so I ain't giving up. No, he's in control, so I build on the rock. I'ma ride it out and not be word to Pac, staying mission minded. That's just how we rock. I ain't backing down, I'm never gonna fall. Y'all can't take me out, I'ma stand proud. God by my side, I won't back down. This my peace of mind, man, I've been loud. And I'm walking on water, so I won't drown. I won't back down, I won't back down. Y'all can't ever stop me, I won't back down. I won't back down, I won't back down. Y'all can't ever stop me, I won't back down. Yeah, we hold it down, no excuses. Can't hold us back, we gon' do this. Break out the cage, going stupid. Glory to God, hallelujah. He gave me strength to conquer all my enemies. Gave me the faith to tower over everything. Without his favor, I ain't got no remedy. Cause of the cross, I need a legacy. Big dogs with a loud bark and a hard bite. No, we go off in the dark night. Cause it's all God, cause he gives life. I'ma stay woke and I'll stay faithful. No stopping us, we gon' flip tables. I'ma pop off like I'm unstable. Spread the gospel, don't need no label. I'ma keep it going, speed it up to infinity. Breaking
shout out to RTJ.
I ain't about to lose focus, got my eyes on the Trinity. Keep it 100, I would die cause the cause of my victory. I ain't gonna rest these, and no, it's never the case. But would I ever quit now when there's too much to take? My life ain't my own, I've been saved by grace, so I'ma do what I can.
Shout out to Third Day Warriors.
Y'all can't take me out, I'ma stand proud. God got by my side, I won't back down. This my peace of mind, man, I've been loud. And I'm
shout out to Jody, shout out to Gina.
I won't back down, I won't back down. Y'all can't ever stop me, I won't back down. I won't back down, I won't back down. Y'all can't ever stop me, I won't back down.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, man. Let's go, man. I like that, man. I would never back down, man. You know, when I think about that statement, you know, I'm thinking about all the times that I go through things, you know, that would question my faith, right? I think about Ephesians chapter 6 when it talks about putting on the armor of God. You know, and we know that this armor represents Jesus. He is our righteousness. He is our faith. He is our salvation. He is the gospel. He is the truth. You know, and what's crazy is that it tells us to stand. He says that when you've done all that you can do, stand. And to me, that speaks of don't back down. Stand for what you believe, which testifies to your grandpops, you know what I mean? Which is why I'm like super, super dope character. We're all called to stand. Don't back down, man. Don't back down at all. Facts. So I know Licio asked you, why do you make, did you ask that? Why do you make the music?
I asked him, yes, I did.
So my next question, and this is from Tristan himself, why do you think God wants you to make music?
I feel like the reason why God wants me to make music has always been my motto, when I first got into hip hop, like when I first got into Christian hip hop specifically, was love God, love people, make dope music. That was the whole bold noise music. That was the whole bold noise music motto, was love God, love people, make dope music. And that has the slogan hasn't changed. It's still love God, love people, make dope music. Um, but that has just instead of it just being like a blanket statement, that has just evolved the longer that I'm here. It is turned into me not only wanting to just love God, but pour out that love to others. Not only just love people, but pour into people, and not just make good music that people can listen to, but make music that people can live through.
I like that. I love that. I love that. I love that. So what's the process that you go through when you're making a song? You thinking about your bars first, or you looking for the beat to talk to you? Like, what's your process?
I always start with, so when I first started making music, it was always instrumentation first. I always I have one of the producers that I've been working with for a long time, super dope friend of mine, Biko. He produced my entire
Shout out to
first,
Biko. Shout out to
yes, sir.
Biko.
He produced my entire first album, front to back. The dude is one of the most talented, if not the most talented producer on the face of the earth. Um, and so I've always just started with, I always got him to send me a folder of beats. I see which ones I vibe with, which ones I know for a fact I'm going to use. Once I get the ones I know for a fact I'm going to use, I'll start writing. I always give myself a concept, like, what's this concept gonna be? What's this gonna be? What's this gonna be? And lately, my process is, at this point, I just stockpile. I've got so many beats on a hard drive that I'm gonna need another hard drive soon. But I've got so many beats on a hard drive, I'm gonna need a new hard drive soon. So what I'll do is I'll just go through that and whatever I'm feeling. Like today, I've been working on like two other songs, just kind of haphazardly figuring out which ones I've kind of vibed with more. And like I'll sit down, I'll be like, okay, like how's this feel? I pan out like where each part of the song is gonna be. I'm very strict with myself on how I position a song. So like if the instrumental is weird, like if I notice that it's got hook, verse, bridge, hook, second hook, third hook, like if it's like that, I just kind of go, okay, how can I rework this to make it work so it's understandable and people can listen to it with ease? Because that's another thing, is like I like to make music that people can listen to
So you're not
easily.
sticking to like any set format.
No, I try not to stick to like a super strict format. I try to just let it flow in some cases. Like today when I got home, I sat down, opened my laptop up, airdropped a beat that I had downloaded, started writing, wrote two verses, recorded them, and then I sat back down again, listened to it, and then I just kind of went, okay, so this is like all I'm feeling for this one so far. I'll come back to it in a little bit. I'll come back to it like tomorrow, day after that. I try not to rush what I'm working on. Like the album that I put out this past September, took the latter half of, oh man, I want to say almost a year and a half, 2 years, because I had been working on songs from that album even after I had dropped my Lockdown EP and my Goslow album. I was still working on songs that didn't make the final cut for the Goslow album. I was working on songs that didn't even make the cut for the EP. There's songs on there that are almost 3 years old that I just took the time to perfect because um, I don't like songs coming out that don't sound 110%. And as I evolve as a person, as I mature, as I change, as I grow, I can like if I don't finish a song that I've been like sitting with because it's not ready yet, I can look back and go, wait a minute, this needs to get, this needs to be a little bit more of a fresh idea. So I might scrap something and add in like a new bar or a new lyric or a new even like measure of lyrics. So the process is just it's ever changing, it's growing. I feel like it's just getting better with time, and I've gotten to a point now where I'm able to not take as long and kind of get content out more frequently. But I still prefer to just sit, take my time, and marinate.
Do you put like a time limit on an album, or do you try to stick to it?
Yeah, I try to put a time limit out. Like for the Heavy as the Head album, it was one of those projects that like heavy as that like the concept Heavy as the Head didn't come to be until um earlier that spring or later in the spring around end of May. So when I started working on some of the music for it, it was just kind of like a lot of it was kind of like more aggressive, more triumphant stuff. There's a couple of songs on there that I was just very much so talking with God on and asking like, what else do I need to do with this song? What else do I need to sit back and breathe with? And when he gave me the Heavy as the Head concept, I was like, okay. Uh, Normally, once I have like the title or the concept, I give myself like a deadline. It's like, okay, this has got to be finished by this time. Because if I don't give myself a deadline, then it's just gonna sit on a shelf. It's not gonna go. It's not gonna go anywhere because I'm gonna want to try to make it as 100% perfect as humanly possible. But giving myself a deadline makes me work towards that goal, but also within a set time frame.
Heavy as the Head. What that mean?
Heavy as the Head. That is, it's kind of a double entendre in the sense. The first one being,
Because I'm over here thinking like somebody got a big head.
yeah. So
I had to say that. It's been festering in my mind.
The main concept, when I was given the Heavy as the Head idea, was two separate albums because I like to do things in twos. I have two scrapped albums that I didn't work on through lockdown just because there was other music I was working on during lockdown. But I had two concept albums that I was working on. They were long. They were like almost an hour, 45 minutes apiece.
Wow.
But one of them was called Joyful and the other one was called Dark Side. And Joyful was this big, long, masterful, like lots of boom bap instrumentation, lots of major key melodies, some stuff that makes you happy. And then the last track called Mood Swings transferred into this darker. It was beautiful, and then it just slowly transferred into this darker undertone. And then that would transfer into the Dark Side album, which is a lot of me dealing with a lot of my indwelling sin, a lot of my anxieties, a lot of my depression, like a lot of my the darker side of me. So kind of balance the yin with the yang. I gave up on that I didn't give up on it. It's still like something I kind of work on periodically, but it's one of those projects that's probably never going to see the light of day because it's too long of a concept in my opinion. I don't think people are going to sit down and listen to 3.5 hours of music.
Definitely not. So I was actually listening to one of the pioneers of hip hop talking about the difference between music back then and music now. Music back then, it was a lot like what you're talking about. Your album actually being a concept. Each song leading into the next. I feel like today we live in a different time zone where I'm not sure. And mind you, I'm an old school dude. I'm looking to make my album the same exact way. That's why it's taken me so long. But I just think that today we live in a time where music is almost like on a microwave level. Like I want my music yesterday. And then when you give it to me yesterday, I'm already tired and I want something new today. You know what I mean? So it's like music is processed and appreciated and then gotten over in such a short time span that people don't want to sit down and make conceptual albums anymore because of what you just said. I don't know if they want to sit down 3.5 hours and listen, you know what I mean, to this concept that I got. Do you think that that's something that's a hindrance to music today, where people are not putting that time and that effort into their songs?
I don't think so. I think personally for me, a lot of the music that I've been listening to personally, a lot of the stuff that I've actually been enjoying myself has been outstanding. It might be like super generic sounding in some cases, but I've really been enjoying a lot of the music I listen to. Like some of the, I'm just gonna pull up my laptop again real quick.
Good.
Like some of the more recent music I've been listening to, like the new is this artist named Stormzy. He's a UK artist, and he's like more so like UK drill, but he's also like incredibly gospel. Like there's a lot of gospel in his records, and
yeah, shout out to that gospel drill.
It took
popped up a couple times already.
It took me a second to, like, I've been listening to this Stormzy guy for a long time. Like I remixed one of his songs back in 2018, 2019. And this guy has just kind of continued to impress me. Even after like the guy went on he disappeared for 5 years, like 4 or 5 years, and all of a sudden just comes out with this masterful album. And I feel like music, it depends on where you're looking. If you're looking at somebody that's regurgitating, like putting out music over and over and over and over again, it's going to get stale quick. It's going to get, it's going to be the same thing over and over and over again. But if you're looking in the places that have the people who really, really hone their craft and trust in their process, then you start to see beautiful bodies of work being created.
Yeah. So one thing that stuck out to me the most, and when I was in the world, my favorite rapper was Jay-Z. Not my favorite rapper in the sense where I'll see him and I need to go get an autograph, but somebody that I had a lot of respect for as far as his wordplay, his choice of beats and all that.
Yep.
And one thing that he said that always stuck to me is that your first album is like a baby. You know what I mean? You take your time to make that. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's expecting your album. That's why it's your first album. So there's not a time limit for you to get it out. Take your time with it, craft it, make sure that before you give it out give it to the world, that it's everything that you expected it to be. You know what I mean? Don't just rush the process because you feel like you just want to put out an album. That's something that stuck out with me, and this is probably why, I'm like, I want to say about 27 songs deep now, and I have yet to put out an album because I'm trying to get 12. And as much as I got 27 songs or something close to that number, I don't feel satisfied in my spirit because I really want to take my time with it. I really want to cultivate what it is that I'm saying. And I also want it to be a concept, right? So my album is called the GodSon album because my whole life was meaningless all the way up until I got to GodSon. And then all of a sudden now I got purpose, I got direction. So I want my album to be the same kind of way to represent that. And I've been taking time with it. But I say all that, kind of like, in a humble way, right? Because I do respect dudes. I got dudes right now that go in, they book the studio session and they don't write the song until they get there. You know what I mean? And that right there, to me, that's humbling because, me being an artist, I could sit there and take a whole month to write a song, you know what I mean, depending on where I'm at with it. So for some of these dudes just to show up, to be able to produce music that quick, and then, these dudes, they'll do the song in like 15, 20 minutes, and it be fire. It's not like I rushed through it, I just gave you mediocre bars. Like, these dudes is really putting a lot of effort, and so some people have that quality to do that, and so shout out to them. But me personally, I don't have that quality. I have to take time with what I do. I have to put my time, my thoughts into it. So I'm more like you, man. I'm thinking more conceptual. I would probably appreciate a 3.5 hour album, maybe because I come from that time zone, maybe because I'm looking more for the concept of an album. But whatever the case may be, I'm sure I'm not the only one out there. So definitely want to say shout out to you for doing that. You know what I mean? And we got to bring that back, man. We got to bring that back where people are taking, making their albums concepts. You know what I mean? Where 100%. Instead of just throwing a bunch of songs on there that they all dope songs, because, bro, like, some of these artists is ill, right? And they all dope song, but for me, I feel like it's just, all right, this is a dope song, that's a dope song. That's a dope song. Now put them all together, what this mean? You know what I mean? What we talking about? So that's how I be thinking about music. So again, man, shout out to you for just the way you constructing albums.
So Bo Noize, I'm a fan of you. Okay, I'm not just saying that because we on the show. Like you've seen me, tag you in posts when I'm playing your music on the KS Radio Show and so forth. So I just want to say this: A-Eazy, not too long ago, I'm guessing he put certain songs that wasn't on an album, that wasn't released to the public, so that when he did these live events, he had these flash drives, and it had the bonus material on it, the songs that didn't make the album. Yep. So if you want to like really find out, who's rocking with you and who's willing to pay $3 extra for this flash drive that doesn't expire, that that won't get scratched like a CD, whatever the case may be, I would encourage that, because I bought the flash drive because I wanted to know what else A-Eazy was working on. Yeah, on this project that will never be released other than on this flash drive. Okay. So, find that group of loyal supporters that will support you. I don't care if it's an ugly shirt, I don't care if it's a good song, that will just spend the money because they want to support you.
Yeah, and by the way, an ugly shirt is very subjective. You know what I mean? He might think it's ugly, you might think it's fire. So
exactly. So this is what I'm saying. Like this is a one of one. I didn't like the color looked good on paper, but then when I printed the T-shirt and I put the color with the font, it did not look right. But this is the only shirt that I got. But if you like it enough, buy it. It's a one of one.
Man, I think coming out of Christmas, if we got a fad that people go and get ugly Christmas shirts, they might be a lane for ugly shirts. I don't know, man. I'm bugging.
But I would encourage that, because when A-Eazy, when he gave me the idea, I was like, bro, that's a dope idea. I have never even thought about putting music on the flash drive before, or selling it at live concerts, and that's what he did. So I bought a flash drive.
Let's go. Anyway. Shout out to A-Eazy, man. Creativity, papi.
So I would definitely encourage that, especially because like I like to sit down and digest music. I don't care if it's boom bap-ish, if it's worship music. If it hits me, it hits me. And I don't care if it's on a flash drive. I don't care if it's we can sit down and watch a 3-hour long Marvel movie. We should be able to sit down and listen to a 3-hour project.
Big facts. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, for the people that don't know, Licio's a diehard Marvel Comics fan, Power Ranger fan, all that. So if you notice, every time he uses an example about movies and stuff, it always got like Marvel in it. Shout out to the Marvel Comics. I'm a fan of Marvel too, so I can relate.
Bro, I mean, like, in the back right here, hold on, let me just point. See these boxes right here?
Yeah.
Those are all Marvel figurines.
Stop playing. Don't make me go into my closet, boy. I'm a G.I. Joe head. Look, I got Army on right now. I'm a G.I. Joe head. You know what I mean? Don't make me go in my closet, word. Licio left the screen, so I'm sure he's coming. He said, word, we talking that talk? I've been down for this.
We talking that. So I'm going to talk to that. Y'all done started something. And y'all mentioned Lamborghinis earlier. I collect, me and my son, we collect cars. So
what's that, the Murcielago?
It's the Aventador.
Oh, the event. That's the one that Batman had, right? Like he had that in the I think it was the Dark Knight or something. I don't know.
So
He had the
again,
event.
don't do me. So if we talking collecting stuff and following our passion, cars has always been a passion of mine, which is why I have the Cruising with KS channel now. So
Yo, bro.
So quick segue just to kind of get into your car thing. So this is a little Lamborghini. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thumb drive.
Ooh.
Speaking of that thumb drive.
That was smooth. That right there. I don't know. Listen, you need to step your game up, homie. He got a car thumb drive, boy.
Bro,
that's fire.
Yeah, that's dope. So it's good to see this side of artists other than the background stuff, producing the song, engineering the song,
facts.
because everybody they have their own niche, I guess. And cars is mine. Women like to shop. People like to, I don't know. Everybody has their own thing. So I'm glad that you showed that because not a lot of people will know that you are into Marvel and DC and collecting figurines. Yeah. But that's what's up, though.
Nah, it's dope. It's dope. Definitely dope. It shows character anyways, I think, some of the most eccentric people in the world is artists. Whether you paint pictures or you make music or you make beat, whatever the case may be, I think some of the most eccentric people are artists because if you think about who's that famous painter? Was it Michelangelo? Who's the one that drew the Mona Lisa? Michelangelo, right? Da Vinci.
I think
so whoever it was, right? Like the fact that he drew that picture the way he drew it and chose the colors that he chose, and nobody else would have thought to do that. I think that's a testimony to an artist and how an artist views things. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, definitely, man. I'm a fan of toys myself. Like I said, man, I'm a G.I. Joe fan, man, and my story might be a little more different than people, but I was like the Project Robin Hood, right? Like everybody in the projects is poor. I was, I used to go and this is my old life, right? So as a kid, I would go and steal all the G.I. Joes that came out, and I would be passing them out in the project so everybody would have G.I. Joes. But I'm a G.I. Joe fan, man. So shout out to all the G.I. Joe fans. And let me keep it all the way a buck, right? G.I. Joe is an acronym for me. And it means God is real, Jesus over everything. You know what I mean? And God is real is a double entendre. Because we know God, we know Israel.
Yeah.
And we know that Jesus is over everything, man.
All glory to God.
Facts.
We only do this for the king. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if the listeners and viewers, if they want a video or if they want a song. So for the 7 people that's still watching on YouTube and whoever is watching on Facebook, if you guys could put in the comment section, if you want a video, comment video. If you want a song, comment song. And that's how we're going to play the next joint.
Word. And if you on Facebook, make your way over to YouTube. Subscribe to us there. Hold us down there. Facebook, for some reason, be hating on us. I'm going to just do a conspiracy. They don't want to charge the streams. Yeah? Run with that. We need a protest. You know what I mean? But
all right, we got one video from Gina. We got Delaney with a song. So
and we got Don Hunt with a video. We got Delaney with a song. So we got 2 videos, 1 song. So I think the 2 videos, 1. Which one we getting into?
We're going to get into the Rad joint with the homie Queese because he mentioned GR, he mentioned Edge earlier, and Queese is in GR. Queese is a member of the Edge, and Queese was on the show not too long ago. So we're going to go ahead and play this Rad track, this video. And again, if you guys have not subscribed to his YouTube channel, please tap into him. Subscribe to his YouTube channel, Bold Noize Music. That's MUZIC.
So real quick, though, before we even do that, I guess we got a unanimous. Everybody wants both. So should we do a video and then a song right after?
Yeah.
Which song should we go with, man? We got intro. We got what we do. We got talk. We got humans. Set the tone. Give me rest.
Or should we do something exclusive? Is Set the Tone exclusive?
Set the Tone is exclusive. It's not out yet.
So set the tone. So we got Set the Tone. I'm Not Dead, God's Alive, and Give Me Rest. Those are the 3 exclusives we got tonight. So which one you want us to play?
Let's go Set the Tone because that one's scheduled to drop next Friday.
Gotcha. So we're going to play the rad video, and then we're going to play the exclusive Set the Tone, which drops next Friday. So tap in with your boy on all digital platforms. The information is at the bottom of the screen. And for those who are up to date with Linktree, tap into his Linktree. The information is at the bottom of the screen as well. If you need me to inbox you the link personally, I will, because I'm just that kind of guy. But we're going to go ahead and get into this video. Noize featuring Queese with Ride. Check it out.
Let's go.
All glory to God. We only do this for the king, you know what I'm saying? Let's go.
Let's go. Shout out to Noize.
Hey man,
shout out to Queese
Music for directing this video, man. Tap in with the homie G Music.
Shout out to G Music.
TK.
Ride, how we ride on the side, do or die, man. Yeah, how we ride, and we blessed, we alive. This is all for my God, man. Yeah, how we ride on the side, do or die, man. Yeah, how we ride, and we blessed, we alive. This is all for my God, man. No, I'm running with the squadron. Keeping my God first, that's the only option. We really living and we really making moves. All the glory goes to God. Keep it first, I know we do, yeah. My energy on another level, I keep it better. I throw that 1-2, kill it like a Mayweather. I got the mission on my mind, got the fire in my heart, got the word up in my soul. You cannot take me apart, you can never bring me down, no, never. Always a step ahead, I keep my movement clever. You know he's gotta rain like I control the weather, and I'll never stop believing that he's really resurrected, yeah. I'm never stopping, I gotta do something, battle the sin that's trapped in the world. You know I gotta get it out. Feeling so insecure, but you know what I've been about. I'ma ride or die for the mission, forget about the countdown.
Let's go.
Yeah, how we ride on the side, do or die, man. Yeah, how we ride, and we blessed, we alive. This is all for my God, man. Yeah,
I know you gonna dig this.
on the side, do or die, man. Yeah, how we ride, and we blessed, we alive. This is all for my God, man.
Yeah, hopped in the flex, so I flex. Blessing outburst, ayy. Holy
shout out to Queese.
Blood stay dripping, so stay clean. Step in the puddle, ayy, so stay clean.
Hitting the Ave to Kennedy, straight to the rap. Put a party on the track, I run way of the scraps. Every turn, lesson learned, now I can't go back. Started listening to the scum, almost gave up rap. Hey, I rise for the king till I feel I'm bored. That'll never be reality, lit like a torch. Too close to the ride and you might get scorched. I'm see you walking in the trucks, ayy, quick as a Porsche.
Jesus is my ride, I fly. Still in the spirit, so I touch the sky. So this so sick, but I ain't stop by. Nah, tonight.
Do or die, man.
Let's go.
How we ride, and we blessed to be alive. This is all from my God, man. How we ride on the side, do or die, man. How we ride, and we blessed to be alive.
Shout out to the body of Christ.
All glory to God. We only do this for the king, you know what I'm saying?
Let's go, man. I like the video, man. Who
So,
shot the
Ono,
video?
You mean to tell me that you got a song dropping on December 31st or December 30th?
No, next Friday. So it's gonna be January the 6th, I think, is what it is.
You said G Music shot that video?
Yeah, G shot the video, yeah.
Man, shout out to G Music, man. I see you working, man. I see you all around the town, bro. See you all around the town, G Music. We got to get you back on, man. We need you on the podcast, the GodSon podcast. Come share your testimony with us, you heard? So how you connect with the Grand Rapids rappers like Edify, G Music? How you connect with them, like all the way from Canada?
Yeah, so that's a super dope story. So the church that I did that I went to, like my senior youth group, that kind of stuff, like when I was in high school, they had booked Beacon and Mark Evans as one of the musicians for the night. And this was when I started getting into Christian hip hop myself. And I got to sit with them, chop it up with them. This is when this is back kind of when Beacon was kind of in the baggy clothes era. Mark was in the same deal. This is back in 2012, 2013. And I got to kind of show them some of my stuff, chop it up. Actually, I remember vividly that night because that was around the time I had just promoted to black belt because I was in karate for most of my youth.
Shout
And
out to karate, mixed martial arts.
I don't know who brought that up. I don't know who brought up the fact that I just promoted to black belt, but somebody had said it in front of them, and I don't know. We were just kind of like we got super connected. We became really super cool friends, and I don't know. Beacon had did something. It was like this is a weird move, but like I was like small. It was like I was half his height. This man is like 6 foot. This man's huge, and this man comes in and the guy like picks me up to like do a fake like wrestling a wrestling tackle. And I don't know what happened, but I need him in the face or something like that by complete like just out of sheer instinct. I felt so bad, but we ended up we kept in touch a little bit. Like he gave me his number, but like Canadian cell phone plans, I'm gonna flat out say terrible. They are the most expensive, useless things you could ever spend your bro. Like so
Canadian cell phone plans are no.
I was doing the math. So y'all pay, I don't know, y'all pay like what, 25, like 35, maybe $40 for like a really good, like a decent plan. Us
I don't know.
to even get
That might be debatable.
to even get close to a decent plan, the minimum price is like $75.
Wow, yeah, nah, definitely don't be playing no 75.
Yeah, bro, my plan because like
I'd rather go prepaid for that, yo. I'm
bro,
buying a card every
my
month.
specific plan, and I'm grateful because like my job, I work as like I sell phones as my job, like I'm a commission based salesperson. I get half off of my phone plan, so even with half off my phone plan, I'm still paying like $80.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's ridiculous. But we kept in touch, and we ended up meeting at this festival that my mom took me and my siblings to every single year. Called Big Ticket Festival in Gaylord. Giant 3-day Christian music event. Awesome event. I love it every single year. It's phenomenal. And Beacon was one of those artists that would get on the adrenaline stage, which is like the metal, the hip hop, the rock, and the like party stuff. So he would DJ some of the night, like he would be the entertainment for some of the night parties. He would be some of the afternoon entertainment, and we got to chop it up there. And I actually got to like my first big show was actually like ad-libbing and doing hype for Beacon and Steven at one of these festivals, and that's how I met Steven. And then from there, it was just that's how we would connect every single year. Is we would all link up at this festival, and we just hang out for a couple of days, and then we'd all go our separate ways. Once I graduated high school, once I got like my own place and I was able to travel, then that's when I started visiting Grand Rapids, because that's where they were like, yo, if you ever get the chance, come to Grand Rapids, come to this church, let's chop it up. We got a studio in the basement. Let's just hang out and let's do things. And so, yeah, that's what we would do. We'd do that for like, I'd go once a month. At the time I was working at a hat store. You guys know what Lids is, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was Yeah, I was working for Lids at the time, and I would get like a week off in the month. I'd go out, visit, work, hang out with them for the entire week. And I'd come back, I work the rest of the month, and then vice versa every single month. I'd leave for a week, come back, work the rest. And so that's just kind of how I built my relationship with those guys. It started out with Beacon and Mark, and then they slowly introduced me to more of the guys in GR. And that's probably in terms of like my tights, the people that I consider like the closest to me that have helped me through probably some of the most has got to be those guys.
Shout out for the connections in the body. I think that, let that be inspiring for other people, man. Just connect with the body of Christ. You know what I mean? He's from Canada. He connecting with people out in Michigan, so it's possible. you just got to put in that effort. You know what I mean?
100%.
Go put in that effort. Go connect with people. You know, I got a song coming out with Christ Jr., Crash Music. I got another joint coming out with E-Mac. You know, and it's just making these connections with the body of Christ, right? Like, let's group up. You know what I mean? Let's worship God together. Let's demonstrate what it looks like to be Jesus here on earth, because we all carry the same spirit as Christ. So, word.
So for those in the chat, I don't want y'all to forget, because we said that we was gonna play a song after the video. My man Bo Noize got a joint dropping next Friday called "Set the Tone," and that's the song we're gonna play next.
So let's get this. This right here is called "Set the Tone." You already know.
Okay, I'm reloaded.
Let's go. Shout out to Bo Noize, you heard?
Set the tone, now this place about to burn. Set the tone, now this place about to burn. Set the tone, now this place about to burn.
Strike first, strike hard. I've been on 10, screaming out no mercy. They ain't trying to see how I've been working. They don't wanna understand my purpose. They don't wanna focus on my journey. They just wanna see me down and dirty. Dust myself off, I've been learning. Gotta trust God with all my burdens. Look, I've been on 10 with my dogs. We tryna go lead the lost. We tryna hustle through all of the hard times. Like we steady be punching the clock. I put my faith in the rock. I ain't never gonna stop. I give it all to the cross. We set the tone and we pushing that way for the culture. Now we be setting it off. Pop off on squad on 10. That's all from Kylo Ren. My dark side coming out to play when I get to my end. But I ain't gonna show my plans.
Shout out to Bo Noize. Let's go.
I'ma fight and stand. My life in a trip. I know that I did some dirt. Know that there's people I hurt. Know at the end of the day that I made mistakes, but I try to get better and put in the work. This be a gift and a curse. This been the way that it works. Been giving glory to God that is keeping me going, cause that's how always I've heard. It could be worse. I could be dead in a hearse. I could be losing myself in all of my sin I committed, cause mama was tripping but God picked me out of the dirt. It could be worse. I could be losing my mind playing tricks on myself that I never realized till the day that I die. Then I open my eyes with regret. May not be the worst, but I'ma still work. All of my bad thoughts, man, I can't let them go get the best of me.
Oh, this right here is spicy.
Now I'm running and they never catch me.
Oh, this right here is spicy.
I know my soul.
Hold on. Nah. We bringing this back. This right here is spicy. Let's go, man. Shout out to Bo Noize, hitting us with that fire.
I know you.
All glory to God. We only do this for the King, you know what I'm saying? Let's go.
I know you gonna dig this.
Strike first, strike hard. I've been on 10, screaming out no mercy. They ain't trying to see how I've been working. They don't wanna understand my purpose. They don't wanna.
Hey, yo, that boy Bo Noize is a problem.
Dirty, dust myself off. I've been learning. Gotta trust God with all my burdens. Look, I've been on 10 with my dogs. We tryna go lead the lost. We tryna hustle through all of the hard times. Like we steady be punching the clock. I put my faith in the rock. I ain't never gonna stop. I give it all to the cross. We set the tone and we pushing that way for the culture. Now we be setting it off. Pop off on squad on 10. Ben Solo, Kylo Ren. My dark side coming out to play when I get to my end. But I ain't gon' show my plans. Instead I might throw these hands. This ain't no talk, I won't back down, man. I'ma fight and stand. My life in a trip. I know that I did some dirt. Know that there's people I hurt. Know at the end of the day that I made mistakes, but I try to get better and put in the work. This be a gift and a curse. This been the way that it works. Been giving glory to God that is keeping me going, cause that's how always I've heard. It could be worse. I could be dead in a hearse. I could be losing myself in all of my sin I committed, cause mama was tripping but God picked me out of the dirt. It could be worse. I could be losing my mind playing tricks on myself that I never realized till the day that I die. Then I open my eyes with regret. May not be the worst, but I'ma still work. All of my bad thoughts, man, I can't let them go get the best of me. Thought that I fell off, then I got up. Now I'm running and they never catching me. Man, I've been
this right here ridiculous.
I know my soul got the remedy. If you throw shade, man, I still shine. None of my demons can never go step to me. My show started at the tech.
Yo, bro. This, yo. Hey, yo, listen, man. This right here is perfectly executed. Your wordplay, yo, bro, I'm appreciating this joint right now.
Thank you.
Let's go, man. Let's go, man. We got to bring this back. I apologize to the people watching, but this right here too spicy not to, you heard? I promise you this is fire.
I know you gonna dig this.
Hey, yo, that's 3 times. This right here is fire.
Strike first, strike hard. I've been on 10, screaming out no mercy. They ain't trying to see how I've been working. They don't wanna understand my purpose. They don't wanna focus on my journey. They just wanna see me down and dirty. Dust myself off, I've been learning. Gotta trust God with all my burdens. Look, I've been on 10 with my dogs. We tryna go lead the lost. We tryna hustle through all of the hard times. Like we steady be punching the clock. I put my faith in the rock. I ain't never gonna stop. I give it all to the cross. We set the tone and we pushing that way for the culture. Now we be setting it off. Pop off on squad on 10. Ben Solo, Kylo Ren. My dark side coming out to play when I get to my end. But I ain't gon' show my plans. Instead I might throw these hands. This ain't no talk, I won't back down, man. I'ma fight and stand. My life in a trip. I know that I did some dirt. Know that there's people I hurt. Know at the end of the day that I'm in.
Hey, yo, Jody, I agree.
Put in the work. This be a gift and a curse. This been the way that it works. Been giving glory to God that is keeping me going. Cause that's how I always have heard. It could be worse. I could be dead in a hearse. I could be losing myself in all of my sin I committed. Cause mama was tripping, but God picked me out of the dirt. It could be worse. I could be losing my mind playing tricks on myself.
This right here called Set the Tone.
I open my eyes with regret, may not be the worst, but I'm
pre-order.
All of my bad thoughts, man, I can't let them go get the best of me. Thought that I fell off, then I got up. Now I'm running and they never catching me. Man, I've been on one for a long time. I know my soul got the remedy. If you throw shade, man, I still shine. None of my demons can never go step to me. My show started at the tech, now I'm opening up for tech. My technical skills were blessed, and I did it without a tech. If you speaking on my name, man, it better come with respect. Man, I do this all for Jesus, so let them come for my neck. I've been blessed since back in junior high. This gift gave me life. Now I know the reason I'm alive. Praise to Adonai. Now I ride, cause this do or die. We stay unified. All that smoke you got won't get me lifted. I'm with the Most High, Jehovah Jireh, my provider. Gave me strength through all the fire and all the trials.
Oh, this right here is a vibe.
Don't mean nada without the Father. Man, I ain't cocky, my bravado's just never tired. Just being honest, cause I've been on a different level, but they wanna see me fall. And I ain't never worried, cause he's got me through it all. These weapons formed against me, but I'm out here standing tall. I'm all about second chances, but can test me and I'm ball. Cause I go to war, my squad against anybody tryna pop off, that's a fact. If they want smoke, better know I bring it. All these little demons ain't coming back. I kept it real, I was 12 in the 7 to 5. We all try to thrive in this place. You got 2 options, you either break out the cage or get stuck in the cycles you make. Grace is efficient, my sinner was boss, so I give it all at the foot of the cross. He saved my soul, I was down, I was lost. I'm indebted for the price that it cost. Word of my big dog, sacrifice. We've been fighting that good fight, man. I keep going, this my life, and it's all for him, so I testify.
This right here, boy. I'm trying to tell you, man. This right here is serious, though. What you said? This right here. You said this right here is an exclusive? Yeah.
Between him and Salt, man, I don't know what we playing tomorrow, bro.
Yo, bro, man. Yo, that one right there, that's Takeoff all day, man.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Takeoff that just died. Those that know, you know. But that's not what I'm talking about. This right here is Takeoff. This is Double R, radio ready. Like, you ready to go, boy. You got to stop playing with him. Like, literally, man, stop playing. You ready to go, man. Who mix your records, though?
I do.
Wow. I got to tap in with you, man, because...
Yo, and fun fact, I do everything on this microphone right here.
You don't even got a shield on that or nothing?
Oh, I got a little pop figure here with a pop filter with a sock on it, but that's about it.
Dang, man. Yo, that right there will show you, man, that if you serious about doing what you gonna do and you talented and all that, and God really put this on your heart, you gonna make it work regardless. You know what I mean? You gonna drive a car with 3 wheels if you got to, you heard? Word up, man.
So Jody was talking about in the chat like nice jersey and everything, and then they mentioned strike first and strike hard, and I was like, bro, that sounds like something from Cobra Kai. And then they mentioned the Cobra Kai hoodie.
Hey, yo, you better be careful, man. There's gonna be a theologian that's gonna say, "Why are you rocking a serpent?"
we gonna tell them they need to relax.
Hey, yo, don't make me throw on my Cobra hat on, man. I know y'all seen it already. I got my Cobra G.I. Joe hat, and I rock that faithfully, serpent and all, yeah.
Oh yeah, Set the Tone. It drops on January 6th, which is next Friday, you guys. Are there any pre-saves available?
I'm working on getting the pre-saves out probably tomorrow.
Gotcha. Well, tap into the link tree so that when it drops, you guys will already be notified and ready.
Facts,
100%.
facts. Yo, that joint ready to go, man.
Tap into the GodSon listening party in the GodSon podcast. Subscribe so that when we go, you can be notified all day, every day.
Yeah, you definitely got to tap in with us, man. God has been blessing us abundantly, man. We got so many dope artists that slide through here. I mean, Noize, man, you came out left field from Canada. But then again, I don't know. Should I be surprised that Canada got fire? Should I? Like, I don't think I should be surprised, though. Like, I'm even feeling a little embarrassed that I'm feeling surprised right now. I don't know. Like, yo, Canada, I ain't even going to hold you, B. Like, Canada, and I'm not just talking Drake or Tory Lanez. I'm thinking about Pat Stay. I don't know if you a fan of battle rap. Pat Stay, man. R.I.P. God bless his soul. Super dope artist, man. Wordplay on 1,000. And you wouldn't
100%.
expect that. You wouldn't expect that because us in the United States, man, we be thinking we the end-all, be-all. Hip-hop started with us, it's going to end with us. And I'm not sure that's so true, yeah? Because Canada be coming out of left. Canada come out of left field with it. And I think Noize, you doing a great job, especially with that last track, holding down Canada, yeah? Keep doing what you're doing, cuzzo. There's some people that are called to do this. There's some people that want to do this. I think that you, somebody who's called to do this, you can tell in your wordplay, you can tell, the fact that you say you record your own music, you can tell by the way you level your sounds, all of that. Stuff that, the normal fan ain't gonna pay no mind to, but somebody like me who edits music, I understand how important it is to know how much compression to put, how to EQ your vocals. So again, man, shout out to you, Noize. I think you on one, boy. You got all bases covered, man. Word.
So I want to say earlier in the show, you mentioned that you mix and master your own music, not just mix it, right?
Yep.
So with that being said, have you ever like assisted or helped another, independent artist with their mixing and mastering?
All the time. When IMG was doing, when IMG was starting to work on some stuff, more so not like an album, but more so like singles here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I know when Zay and I, when we were working on one song that we did it was me, Zay, Queese, Tank, and Jones. We did a song called Holy Flame, and Zay and I, we went back and forth with the mixes, we went back and forth with the mastering.
Yo, Alicia, what happened? You lost your head? You lost a couple screws? Yo, Alicia about to have a seizure right now.
Is that the song with Queese on it? And Zaymar released it like a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
I got that song. Wow. I had no idea like who mixed and mastered that. I just remember
that was between me and Zay, and I think Biko had his hand in it too, if I'm not mistaken, because he's the one who produced the joint. But predominantly it was me and Zay had a lot of creative overhaul on that one.
Gotcha. Now I'm real close with Queese. So he gave me a little backdrop to, who all was on it and, why Zay released it. Shout out to Zaymar, by the way.
Shout out to Zay.
But I don't know if he told me like what made Zaymar release it. And I don't know how long, I can't remember because it was a year and a half ago. I can't remember how long you guys have been sitting on it and who was supposed to be the first person to release, or if you guys are going to release it collectively. I don't know, but I didn't know that you had a fingerprint in that mixing and mastering session for that song.
So you've been mixing and mastering like your whole career, or is that something you recently got into?
So when I started doing music, it was a lot of just writing, and predominantly just writing, because I started writing when I was 13, and I was end of grade 8, beginning of grade 9. And once I got into I didn't start recording any of my music until around grade 11. And once I got into grade 11, I transferred schools because there was a recording program in the school that I wanted to transfer to. So transferred into that other school, and what ended up happening is they essentially taught you that whole what that class consisted of is there was the grade 11 class and then the grade 12 class. There was the beginning and advanced classes. So beginning course taught you your standard on how to record. They taught you equalization. They taught you your compression. They taught you where to place a microphone if you're recording instruments. They taught you like they taught you like all the basics. And then the advanced was like, okay, well, if you have like a whole band you're recording at once, how are you going to compress each instrument down to be leveled out? And so like I ended up paying the most attention in that class as much as I humanly could. I was coming to school at like school doesn't normally start where I'm from until around like 9 o'clock in the morning, and then it ends off at around 3. I would show up around 6:30 in the morning. It got to a point where the recording teacher actually gave me a key, so I could get into the studio at 6:30 in the morning, and I'd sit there, I'd record my stuff. I'd mix it, I'd master it, and this is all on like old tech. This is like 90s tech.
Yeah.
Like this is all hardware, there's no software. And so I'm recording and I'm mixing and mastering, and that's how I learned on hardware. Is I learned how to get my vocals right with hardware. And once I got my laptop, once I got my studio monitors and my microphone and everything like that, that's when I was like, oh, well, now I've got this software. Now I can do a little bit more and expand. And so I kind of learned how to transfer my knowledge from hardware over to software, and super easy.
Instantly, man. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. You know, a lot of artists that are making music these days ain't thinking that deep. You know what I mean? They're not thinking about, you know, learning. And then, you know, the fact that you saying you showing up 6:30 when school started at 9 only shows how dedicated and how serious you was about what it was that you was doing. And I think that should be a testimony to anybody who's deciding to do music. You know, don't think that because God put it on your heart to do music that all of a sudden you're going to fall out the bed and you're going to be a professional at everything. And I say that because I've dealt with people like that, right? So, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I've been into music all my life. You know, for me to think of bars the way that I think of and construct rhymes like that took a lot of time and effort. Like, I had to put a lot of work in. You know, granted, a lot of that was in jail and I had nothing else to do, you know, but either which way, you can't get around the fact that you got to put in work in order to, and that goes with anything, not just music. Anything you want to do and you want to be real good at, you got to put in the work. It's not something that's going to come into your life, you know, from one day to the next. Now, the exception never becomes the rule. I'm sure somewhere in the world there was somebody who woke up today and said, God told me to do music and he's the best artist in the world. I haven't met him, but I'm sure he exists somewhere, right? But for everybody else, just know you got to get up and you got to be shooting you got to be in the court shooting them baskets way before anybody show up. And when everybody's in the club partying, you still got to be there shooting them baskets. You know what I mean? Jordan didn't become Jordan just because his name was Jordan. You know what I mean? He had to go put in that work, and now we know him as Jordan. You know what I mean? So let that be an example to anybody that wants to do music for the Lord, man. Put your best effort in. You know what I mean? If the class starts at 9, show up earlier than that if you're really serious about what it is that you're doing. Because I promise you, you won't have to say that to somebody. People are going to see how serious you are, and they're going to hand you the keys. You like how I did that, right? That was mad smooth. Celebrations to JB. That was a good one. Nah, but, you know, I say that jokingly, but I really mean it, right? Like, put in that work. People are going to acknowledge what it is that you're doing, and look at how the professor gave him a key because he saw how serious he was. The professor wasn't at the shop making a bunch of keys for every student in the room, right? He gave it to him because he seen, yo, this dude showing up 6:30, he's serious. So be serious about what it is that God, especially if God called you to do it. Be serious about it. Don't think that you're just going to slip, trip, and land into $1 million deal. Again, the exception is not the rule. You know what I mean? The exception is not the rule, man. I promise you, there's people that do it. But if you're not one of them, you're just going to have to do it like the rest of us, and that's put in that work, show up early, leave late, that type of stuff, man. So shout out to you, Bo Noize.
So check dig this. So I know that I'm on YouTube. I'm watching the show on YouTube through my YouTube channel, Cruising with KS. Little did I know, I started my channel in August. Little did I know in December that I was staying next to a $500,000 Lamborghini STO, all because I made a phone call. I made a phone call for one car, and I was blessed to see 4 or 5 different cars that I haven't posted yet. It only takes being passionate about something and being serious to pursue that passion.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you gotta put in the work, man. You gotta put in the work.
Facts.
So, again, for those who didn't write it on their calendars yet, Bo Noize Set the Tone drops next Friday, January 6th, 2023. If you like to stay up late like I do, so that when midnight hit, you can download it and stream it and support them, then do that. Or you can do it when you first wake up on Friday morning. You know you're going to be a little late to work anyway because you don't want to go to work in the first place. So download the song before you wash up. You feel me? Support the homie Bo Noize.
Support. And also, man, information is at the bottom of the screen, so go show that love and support. You know what I mean? It don't cost you nothing to go like something, to share something, to subscribe. You know what I mean? It will cost you probably to download, but if you really believe in what God is doing in his life, it shouldn't be nothing for you to sow into that. We spend thousands of dollars on sneakers and clothing and stuff that don't really matter, that one day you're not going to even use anymore.
Right.
So it should cost you nothing to sow into somebody, you know what I mean, that is giving a gift that's going to keep on giving, right? Like, he's giving you a gift that keeps on giving, and we know that that gift is the gift of God. Freely receive, freely we give it, you know what I mean? So, but we know that it takes physical keys to open up physical doors. So with that said, go show that love, man. Go let them know that you paying attention. You heard? Facts.
I want to let you know that Delaney said that I think it's a she. She is very proud of you, and Jody is as well.
Yeah, word. Appreciate y'all tuning in with us, locked in with us. So yeah, man, we already 3 hours in. It was a super dope podcast. We got mad music of you. But you know, for the sake of honoring your time, because I know that you do your thing. Also, I want to honor the people in the chat because I know they doing their thing, and this is a work week. What's the last song that we should get into before we close the show out?
I say let's go with Keep It Going.
Keep It Going. All right, is that all right, so that's a song.
Yeah, that's a song. And while he gets the music ready, you guys, I want to let you guys know that tomorrow we got Joel.
Hold on, because I don't see Keep It Going here.
Oh, you always do this.
I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Hey, yo, Lisho, man, I know you a busy man, but you slacked off.
So check this out. While we look for the song, you guys, we're going to play this commercial from Rosalind Smith Counseling, and then we got another commercial from Hustle, Pray, Eat. I want you guys to tap in with them if you haven't already, and we'll be back after these announcements.
All right, word, man. So let's get into this commercial right here. Rosalind Smith Counseling. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Rosalind with Rosalind Smith Counseling, and I'm excited to tell you about my program called From Forgiveness to Healing. This program is a self-paced, 8-week transformational program that walks individuals through the process of forgiveness. If you've been struggling with releasing or letting go of things, need help in forgiving someone or maybe even yourself, this program is for you. You can learn more about the program on my website, rosalindsmithcounseling.com, or you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Rosalind Smith Counseling.
Hustle. You have to hustle, put in the hard work. There's no excuses on the road to success. Even when you feel defeated, you gotta keep going. Pray. You have to pray for everything that you want and everything that you're thankful for. When it's not going the way that you want, You still gotta trust the process. Eat. After the hard work, it's time to celebrate and fellowship with the ones who believed in you. And if they didn't believe you, let's turn them into believers. Hustle, pray, eat. It's the brand that motivates.
I be rapping, I be capping, I be tapping, I be flapping, I be happen. Ning, ding, bing, wing. Yo.
Sounds good.
Would, could, should, hood. Good, mug, dug, bug.
If we say we'll come, will you shut your ass up?
Got him! Got him!
Okay, I'm reloaded. Welcome back. Hey, yo, I don't know. That commercial always gets me, man. I be rapping, I be capping, I be tapping, I be... Hey, yo, I love that. My man, yo, shout out to Danny Silvera, man. This a brother that he's been sowing into me this month, and I'm like, wow, man. And he's like, bro, I see good soil, man. I'm just trying to plant seeds. So shout out to Danny Silvera. Appreciate you, man. But he was the one. He was the one, man. He's constantly making jokes. But he was the one that brought that to my mind, and I said, you know what? I need that on the show because we do be rapping, we be tapping. I'm trying to tell you, boy. Oh, man, listen. So I got the song right here. Keep it going. This is going to be the last song that we're going to play for the show. It's been 3 hours and 4 minutes. Definitely want to say shout out to Bo Noize, man. I appreciate your time, Cuzzo. Everybody in the chat, like, we literally been having consistent viewers this whole entire time. Where I almost feel a little guilty by saying, yo, we at the end. But
yeah,
shout out to the chat, though, man. I appreciate y'all tuning in with us. I hope that y'all not just tuning in, man, that you would actually go and support the bro. You know, he got album coming out. He got music getting ready to be released and all that. Go show that love and support. You know, he's all the way out in Canada, traveling all the way down to Michigan because of what God has put on his heart and how much he believes in it. You know what I mean? So come alongside of him, sow into him, you know what I mean? Physical keys to open physical doors. One hand wash the other. Both hands wash the body. Imagine trying to wash your body with no hands. Imagine that. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. So with that, man, I definitely want to say shout out to the chat. Shout out to you, Bo Noize. But before we go, I definitely need to give a shout out to the sis. And go ahead, Licio, man. Support the sis.
So not only my sister, but also all these, clothing brands and these entrepreneurs that we have, that come onto the show, that inbox us and everything. But my sister, Kenesha Warlick, is the founder and owner of All Things Essential Oils and More. If you guys are biblical scholars, then you know that essential oils were mentioned over 1,000 times in the Old Testament and the New Testament. She does butters, creams, oils, and like if you have eczema or anything like that, she can do a custom order as well. She did tell me earlier this week that or over the weekend that she is having the website redesigned. So just tap in with her on YouTube, All Things Essential Oils and More LLC. Subscribe today. Or you can contact her at the phone number on this card at 513-580-4720. And if anybody needs logos, I do logos as well. So inbox me either on, the KS Radio Show page, Cruising with KS, or Elicio Torres, if you guys need any logos. And for those who are traveling for 2023, you looking for plane tickets and you want to go to, you want to travel out the country, or you want to take your kid to Disney World for the first time, or whatever the case may be. She is a travel agent as well. She can be your personal travel agent. Just hit her up, contact her at KeneshaWarlick.intellitravel.com or at the same phone number, which is 513-580-4720. Book and save with Kenesha Warlick today. If you're ready to travel, she's ready to help.
Shout out to the sis. Shout out to the sis. And again, man, that opportunity is open for anybody who's rocking with us. I know Gina out there, she be putting in that work. Sis, get something together, any commercial, anything you want us to highlight that you doing, tap in with either me or Elicio, and we want to do our best to help support what you doing, because I know you were serving, I know you out here putting in that work. But that goes for anybody that's in the chat, anybody that's in the body of Christ. anything that we can help promote you with, as long as it represents Christ, we with it. This is GodSon podcast. This ain't Jay Meezy's podcast. This ain't Alicia's podcast. We here to shine light on the body of Christ. So definitely want to help y'all out. So if you got something, man, send it through. And you already know, Noize, man, appreciate having you on. Appreciate your transparency. I love the way that you articulated your testimony. You could tell that you are an artist because your vocabulary's on point. Your articulation is on point. And I just pray that God continues to open these doors in your life, man. You know what I mean? That God will continue to open doors. And not only that he will give you these opportunities to continue to grow as well through experience, through encounters, through relationship with people. You know what I mean? That everything that comes into your life would represent an opportunity for you to grow spiritually, to be molded into the Son, into the image of the Son and all that. So with that, we got this last joint. It's called Keep It Going. Before we play this though, you want to tell us a little bit about this song? What was the inspiration? What is it about?
Yeah, so a lot of inspiration for this song. This is obviously the overall aspect and the overall energy to keep fighting and keep going no matter what's going on in your life. I talk a lot about that this is the fight that God's called me to do. But there's also a lot of talk about persecution overseas. Something I didn't bring up earlier was I had the opportunity a few years ago I was blessed with the opportunity to go over to Thailand and serve at a Bible school that helped teach refugees from the neighboring country Burma, which has been in, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the longest running civil war in history. And I've got such a heavy heart and such a big respect for those people who not only had to flee their country but had to fight for their lives to get where they are today. Some of those students, I'm still in contact with some of those people that I got the chance to teach songwriting and music to. I'm super blessed that I still have the opportunity to reach out to them and ask how them and their families are, and overall just be able to pray for them and think about them. And I feel like that's something that if you ever get the chance to go on a missions trip anywhere, and if you feel like it's something that God has put on your heart, I feel like that's an opportunity that you should absolutely take if you get the chance. It opens your eyes to things that us in a North American standard and a North American culture, it shows us a lot that we take absolutely for granted. Like one thing that I look at now compared to what I was looking at back then is like one thing that I didn't really think about all too much was people, like we have such easy access to the word, and we have such easy access to like Jesus here. A lot of people know who Jesus is in North America, but when you go overseas, you're going into these camps and you're going into these cities where it's predominantly Buddhist communities, and a lot of them either haven't heard of Jesus or don't know enough about Jesus to know the love that he has and the plan that he has for all of them. And so being able to have conversations with those kind of people and those experiences were a huge part of this song, because it was my message for them when the Civil War kind of rebooted back up in Burma, was my message to the Karen people and a lot of the people that were in a lot of the students that I know that were in the country. It was my message for them to keep it going and don't give up the fight, because God's got you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper.
I like that. I like that. So yeah, man, definitely want to say shout out to the chat, Jody, Gina, Who else we got? Dawn up in the building. Who else we got over here? Who else we got? Delaney. You know what I mean? Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all been tuned in with us, and we know that time is very valuable on this side of reality. You know what I mean? So definitely want to say I appreciate y'all tapping in with us. Go tap in with Bold Noize, though, man. Help this brother get in the algorithm. Help him get on the forefront. You know what I mean? He shared his testimony with y'all tonight, a little bit at least. We definitely got to have him back on for the podcast. But he shared his testimony with y'all. I hope y'all was able to connect and understand him as an artist and why he does what he does and makes the music that he makes. So with that, Licio, any last words you got to say?
Jody said, I would have stayed another hour. Thank you, Bo, from the 603.
Word, man. Appreciate you, Jody. Appreciate you, Jody.
Oh, yeah, I also just want to, piggyback, because I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but if you read on my, in my bio on Facebook, it says that I was, a minister with EJM, which is Eddie James Ministries, and I had a chance to, not only dance for Eddie James Ministries, but travel across the United States and to, preach the gospel through my dancing. And we were at an Indian reservation in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. And it was, everything was cut off. It was no technology. People like us, like we're addicted to our phones. We couldn't have our phones. It was a crazy experience. It was a very eye-opening experience. So I can attest to what you're saying about going to Thailand. So I definitely want to piggyback off of that and just say that if you do have the experience like Bold Noize was saying, I don't care if it's for a weekend. I don't care if it's, feeding the homeless with your church or feeding the homeless by yourself. Get out there and be the salt and light of the earth. Be the hands and feet of Jesus in this dying world, because they need to know who Jesus is at the end of the day. Point blank, period. And the best sermon a person can hear is the life that you live.
The best gospel preached is the one that you live, man.
That's what I mean.
Love that.
That's what I mean.
No, I understood it. I understood it. And I feel like everybody understood what you're saying, because that is the truth, man. And I think that's a testimony to your grandpops. You know what I mean? Like, he held 100%. It down. He stood, you know what I mean, when people probably would have folded, you know what I'm saying? And by him standing, that gave you an example, you know what I mean? It gave you something, it gave you like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a barometer, I don't know. One of those things, right? It gave you something to kind of like sink your teeth into and say, you know what? This is where I'm at. You know what I mean? I get that the world is going to do what the world does, but this is where I'm at. You know what I mean? So
100%.
Again, man, shout out to your grandpops. Shout out to you. Yo, just keep doing your thing, man. I would definitely love to tap in with you. Maybe get some pointers on some editing, because I'm starting to learn how to edit and all that. But I'm not the best, but I wish I was. But maybe I could connect with somebody like you who can give me some pointers or something. But
of course,
whether we connect or not, man, definitely want to say I'm honored to be able to interview you tonight. And hopefully we can have you back for the podcast so you can go a little more deeper into what you was talking about. And with that, man, I just pray God continues to open doors in your life, that your family will be blessed, that as you continue to serve the Lord, your family will be covered, without you even worrying about it. Just being so concerned and so focused on what God has called you to do that you ain't looking to the left or to the right. You know what I mean? Facts.
Before we get out of here, where can I get me an IMG beanie?
I see people asking about that beanie too.
So a lot of the IMG stuff. So the jerseys were specific for us as the artists. Like we all, as the artist of IMG, those were like exclusive for us. In terms of any other IMG merch, like T-shirts, anything like that, I don't have any say, or I don't even know if the T-shirts are still made. But in terms of like the beanies and any hats that I have that have the IMG logo on it, these were test prints. I was testing out when we were like, this is around end of 2019, before COVID kind of hit hard. We were kind of looking at doing merch runs, and me working at Lids at the time, I had access to embroidery machines. So I had discounts on embroidery, discounts on blank hats, discounts on all of that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, let's do a couple of test runs. Let's see what works. So I'm the only one that has the IMG stuff at the moment because they're just test prints. They never made it to final.
Hey, yo, come on, man. We don't want to hear that. We want those beanies. We want the beanie, man. Nah, man, super dope beanie. I seen people asking about that beanie. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. Maybe God will give you favor, man. Tap in with the brother directly. He already told you he got some lives experience. I don't know if he still got those discounts or anything. You're gonna have to talk to him about that. But
I don't even got a lids in my city anymore. They closed up yesterday.
Yesterday, wow.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro, they're gone. I don't even get to go buy hats anymore. It's mad depressing.
Man, that makes me want to cry. That makes me want to cry. Yo, but all right, man. So I appreciate you being on the show, man. Appreciate everybody tapped in with us tonight. I had a good time, you know what I mean? I feel like the more that I do these podcasts, the more comfortable I get at, conversating, because, I wasn't so easy to conversate. I wasn't so easy to open up like that. But I feel like, serving the body of Christ has also blessed me as well, you know what I mean? And I've been able to encounter some dope artists, some dope people, and I'm blessed by it all, you know what I'm saying? So that's just me. But, yeah, so let's end off the show, man. Again, I appreciate everybody who tapped in. Information at the bottom of the screen. Bo Noize, man. I pray you continue to prosper, and hopefully we will have you back on, you heard?
Thank you, bro. Of course.
All right, man. So let's get into this last joint. This right here is called Keep It Going. And you already know what time it is, man. Go show that love. Go show that support. Go tap in, man. Let them know that you paying attention, you heard?
Okay, I'm reloaded.
Let's go. Shout out to Bo Noize. Shout out to Jesus. Glory to God, you heard?
All glory to God.
I don't stop, I don't quit, I just keep it going. I move smart, I move quick, dog, I keep it rolling. I see blessings coming daily, look what God's been doing. This ain't never been a game, man, I really do this. I don't stop, I don't quit, I just keep it going. I move smart, I move quick, dog, I keep it rolling.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Look what God's been doing. This ain't never been a game, man, I really do this. Covered by the blood, dog, this really is my life. I ain't never backing down, cause this be do or die. Man, I've seen some persecution and I've seen the strife. Satan wanna box me and I promise it's on sight. I've been trying to stay consistent, let them know what's up. Persecuted people in Burma, so I stay going up. I just gotta show the truth, expose all the damages, give God all the glory and honor.
Let's go, shout out to Bo Noize.
Getting knocked out like I'm Rocky in the fold. Back me in the corner, I go saying all my foes. They just wanna break me, dog, I've been broken before. You ain't never gonna stop me, dog, I'm not one to oppose. I was standing by my brothers and I'm fighting till the end of time. If we getting knocked down, know we got an army on our side. Even if they label us as criminals, I know it's right. I do this for my savior Jesus, that's enough to keep the fight. I don't stop, I don't quit, I just keep it going. I move smart, I move quick, dog, I keep it rolling. I see blessings coming daily, look what God's been doing. This ain't never been a game, man, I really do this.
Let's go, shout out to the body of Christ.
I move smart, I move quick, dog, I keep it rolling. I see blessings coming daily, look what God's been doing. This ain't never been a game, man, I really do this. Victory, that's my motto, ain't switching up on the gospel. I'm coming up with my partners, got faith in the God we follow. I ain't got no other options, I'm breaking the chains we locked in. I'm trying to keep my focus on my God, that keeps me rocking. Time to clock in, cause we ain't stopping, it's time to go to work. I've been dodging demons on the daily, making Satan hurt. If I fall astray, I pray you break my ways to put you first. I've been covered by the blood, so I know that you broke the curse. Moving as a unit, we do this until the death of us. Unashamed, best believe we ain't some of you regulars. We fight from the victory, we ain't stopping for anyone. Don't you put his glory in a box that might be dangerous. Even if this music stops, my passion for the mission won't. I'm still fighting for the voices overseas, this ain't no joke. To my brothers struggling daily to keep on doing right, just know that Jesus loves you, don't you ever go and quit your fight.
Shout out to Bo Noize.
I just keep it going. I move smart, I move quick, dog, I keep it rolling. I see blessings coming daily, look what God's been doing. This ain't never been a game, man, I really do this. I don't stop, I don't quit, I just keep it going. I move smart, I move quick, dog, I keep it rolling. I see blessings coming daily, look what God's been doing. This ain't never been a game, man, I really do this.
Shout out to Bo Noize. Go tap in with him, you heard? Go show that love and support. Jesus is king today too, you heard?
What's up, brothers and sisters? Everybody out there, what's going on? Just had a thought I'd like to share with y'all. I felt like I should. I was talking to my man Mikey last night and I thought about something. Now imagine you in a situation, right? Now really picture this in your mind. You're in a situation where somebody got a gun to you and your man's head. And he's about to kill one of y'all. And he say, y'all choose. You make the choice. Who gonna live? And your friend says, kill me so my friend could live. That's pretty deep, right? It's kind of gangster, like, by any standard. Whether you from the hood, whatever, it don't matter. That's life. That's unimaginable. Really, really think about the magnitude of that. He just said, I'm gonna die so my friend could live. This is why I love Jesus so much. If you know me from before, you know what he's done in my life. You know the transformation he's doing in my life still and what he's done. Now, like I said, imagine the seriousness of somebody saying, kill me so my friend could live. It's all right. I'll die. Jesus died so we all could live. Every single one of us. Yeah, you too. Whoever you are. Every single one of us. That man died on the cross. It's more than just picturing dying on the cross. No. He died on a cross. Hung him. Nailed him to a cross. They whipped him bloody. Couldn't even carry that cross. And he was innocent. We guilty. And he did that so that we can have eternal salvation. And people think it's something religious. Like, yes, it has to do with religion. But it's not religious. He loved us. That's a deep relationship that he's trying to have with everybody. I just wanted to share that with y'all. Regardless of what you believe in, you know, I just felt like that was something deep to share with y'all. And I know it's true. I know what it is. I know what he's done. And I thank him for everything he's done for us. And I pray that y'all all get a revelation one day in an encounter with my God, your God, our Father, our Heavenly Father. Have a blessed day.
Crucify my old man. I gotta go through hell to get to heaven. Nah, I'm a new creation, living Christ-like. Finally got my mind right. I gotta go through hell to get to heaven. Walking through the flames, refined and purified.
I have a past. I've made mistakes. But even though I'm not perfect, I refuse to be defined by my failures. I'm proud of the changes that I made and the things that I've overcome. And if you knew what I had to go through in order to transform into the person that I am today, you wouldn't try to discard me. You would celebrate me. Besides, no one can cancel whom God has redeemed. What about you? Redeem culture. It's not just a brand, it's a movement.
Come with competition, what good things good. Little more of that. Little more of that.
Great things come with heaven. What good thing? God changed my life around. 'Cause he's just like fire, fire, burning at your back door. Fire, fire, nothing that you can ignore. Let God's presence fill you up. 'Cause he's just like fire, fire, trying to knock your door down. Fire, fire, nothing that could break his bound. Let God's presence fill you up.
Okay, it is. That's good. Let's run it again one more time.
I be rapping, I be capping, I be tapping, I be flapping, I be happen. Ning, ding, bing, wing. Yo.
Sounds good.
Good, could, should, hood. Good, mug, dug, bug.
Oh, if we say we'll come, will you shut your ass up?
Got him! Got him!